Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Global Weird, Ghost Rider, Awakening Hellfire. Chapter 31. Sister, why are you here? Lu Jie was also very pleasantly surprised. His neck was encircled by his sister's arms, and there was that familiar smell in his breath. A long-lost family affection rippling in his heart. Brat, of course I'm here to see you. After the hug, Lu Qingyi rubbed Lu Jie's hair affectionately. I told you not to touch your head, you won't grow tall. Lu Jie grumbled and complained. Lu Qingyi opened her arms and looked at him with a smile. They're a head taller than my sister, how long are they? Well, have you been working hard during this time? Facing her sister's concerned gaze, Lu Jie felt his nose sore. For more than a month, countless people have marveled at his own strength and achievements, but no one has ever cared so much about how he is doing, whether he has worked hard or not. Lu Jie said with a smile, practice. It's not hard. Besides, we agreed to enter the Holy Spirit Academy together. How can we do it if we don't work harder? Lu Qing gave him a white look. You really have been thinking about this all the time, kid. Finished. She pulled out a purple pill. Solemnly handed it over to Lu Jie. This is the purple marrow pill that flows from the 4th district. It can improve your supernatural power level. Take it quickly. As long as it is an ability below S level, it will have miraculous effects. Lu Qingyi stared seriously at Lu Jie's eyes, wanting to watch him take it with her own eyes. Modified, effective for S level and below. Lu Jie held this purple marrow pill with a strange expression. Can he say that he already has Hellfire, this kind of super S level ability? However, under the concerned eyes of my sister, he still put the pill in his mouth and swallowed it. Then Lu Qingyi opened her eyes wide and looked at Lu Jie's body without blinking. It's been a long time. Lu Jie's body did not produce any strange changes. This scene made Lu Qingyi a little discouraged. Seemingly struck, she muttered to herself. Is it not effective? I remember Xiaoshuan said that Zisui pill is very precious and effective. Looking at her sister's lost appearance, Lu Jie couldn't help comforting him. Sister, don't be sad, it doesn't matter even if the ability level can't be improved. Look, haven't I been promoted from the 1st district to the 2nd district soon? It even broke the record in history. The younger brother's consolation dispelled a large amount of disappointment in Lu Qingyi's heart. She raised her smiling face again and looked at Lu Jie dotingly. Of course, my brother is the best. Lu Jie felt weird hearing this. But his state of mind is indeed very calm. In fact, after his sister handed him the elixir, he had expected the effect of taking it. Because his ability is no longer the most trashy F-level ability aerobic inflammation. It's the powerful and mysterious ultimate flame, Hellfire. How could there be a pill to increase the level of Hellfire in this world? Then Lu Jie talked to his sister for a long time. When parting, Lu Qingyi was very reluctant to let go, holding his hand for a long time and refused to let go. Lu Jie was moved, and made an agreement with a very solemn expression. In the future, we must enter the Holy Spirit Academy together. Lu Qingyi's eyes were rosy, and she nodded heavily when she heard the words. Okay, come in together, After sending off her sister Lu Qingyi, Lu Jie stayed alone in the squad room. The two teammates who were afraid of Chu Qingchuan's big brother ran away and never came back. Lu Jie didn't wait for the two of them, but he waited for the manager from the 2nd District Psychic Association. One claimed to be the Secretary General of the association, and the other claimed to be the Logistics Minister. After they revealed their identities, Fang Kai said to Lu Jie earnestly. Well, Chu Qingchuan, you'd better not offend him. You are new here, so you may not know his background. This guy's character is hard to say. If you offend him, you will end up miserable. Facing the reminders from the two managers, Lu Jie nodded to indicate that he understood. I don't care. If it wasn't for my sister who slapped this guy away. He had planned to teach Chu Qingchuan an unforgettable lesson. But that's fine too. Everyone knew that he had offended Chu Qingchuan. No one wants to associate with him. The team's training room, for the time being, belongs to him alone, and no one disturbs him. Go to the gravity acceleration cabin. Lu Jie looked up at the tall white machine and was amazed. The acceleration of gravity in the secondary area can reach 40 times. The psionic association is really rich and powerful. Psi, eager to become stronger, he adjusted the data and stepped directly into it. Inside the machine, it is endless darkness. I can't see my fingers. It's dark enough, Liu Jie said softly. This sentence has just been said. A whirlwind coercion came over. At the same time, there is also the gravity under the feet. The air seemed to be tens of times heavier, like a solid weight on Liu Jie's body. For a moment, Liu Jie was sweating profusely, and his bones were bent. He gritted his teeth to prevent himself from lying down, his gums were bleeding from the bite. This shit, it's really violent. Liu Jie felt that the cells in his body were frantically agitated, as if he had been drowning for 30 minutes, and the moment his alveoli were about to turn white, he found fresh air and breathed greedily and frantically. The pressure continues to mount. Due to the pre-adjusted pressure coefficient of Liu Jie is 20 times to 40 times, the gravity increases step by step. So gravity is only going to get stronger. Under pressure, Liu Jie clenched his teeth and stood there without saying a word, never giving in. The veins under his skin were exposed, like a rugged earth dragon. His complexion was flushed, and the energy in his body was surging like a river. The sweat was more like the tide, and large swaths of sweat soaked Liu Jie's clothes. And with the high temperature of his body surface, it transpired into a pure white mist, permeating the inner room of the gravity cabin. Finally, 30 minutes passed. Training is over. The hatch opens. Liu Jie walked out exhausted, drooping like a drenched rat. He gasped heavily, his skin flushed with sweat. But at this moment, his eyes are as bright as stars. 40 times, 30 minutes. I persevered. Before that, this record is held at 28G for 15 minutes. When Liu Jie abruptly raised it to the highest multiple, the time also doubled. The simulation training ground on the top floor is open to everyone once a month. Liu Jie has just arrived and has no authority yet. So after training, take a shower early and go to bed. The next day, the secretary at the front desk called to inform him that there was a new fog in the 2nd district. Liu Jie's 443 team was dispatched to carry out the task. After Liu Jie hung up the phone, he glanced at the empty team training room. How can I have teammates? But it doesn't matter anymore. Be alone and be alone. Anyway, Liu Jie feels that his own strength does not need the help of others. At the same time, in the entertainment hall of the Psychic Association, a few people with mischievous eyebrows sneaked into a private room. After finding Chu Qingquan, who had been waiting for a long time, he lowered his voice and said secretly, "Brother Chuan, find out. This kid entered the fog alone." When Chu Qingquan heard the news, his eyes lit up. A cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Nodding said, "Very good. This kid has a hard head. I can't blame Lao Su for wanting to die. I caught him this time and wanted him to die." About Chu Qingquan and their conspiracy, Liu Jie didn't know it. At this moment, he has officially stepped into the weird fog of the 2nd district. However, although his teammates in the 443 team are gone, but there are still many members of other teams on the way. As a result, as soon as they stepped into the mist, these people walked away one after another as if they were avoiding the plague god. They didn't want to offend Chu Qingquan, so naturally they didn't want to get too close to Liu Jie. After all, not everyone can ignore the weight of a 9-star awakened person. The 9-star awakened person represents the top power in this world. All of them are very important, stomping their feet, and the whole area will shake. That is a strong man who will step into the heavenly level at any time, and almost all the strong men in the heavenly level represent the Holy Spirit Academy. Every pull-out can easily destroy a skyscraper. Every hit is more terrifying than a missile. A master of this level is indescribable even by a humanoid Tyrannosaurus. Who wants to provoke? Shake your head. Liu Jie lamented the people's hearts. Indeed, interests are always paramount. In the eyes of outsiders, if he offended Chu Qingquan, who had a very deep background, he might not be far from bad luck. Liu Jie estimated that within a few months, no one would be willing to talk to him. Forget it. Liu Jie looked at the empty street, and randomly found a compass showing a strange direction. It's good to be a lone wolf, you can move freely without restraint. Liu Jie was so happy, he watched the direction of the compass and hurried on his way. Roar, roar. Suddenly, at the end of the street corner, there were 2 demonstrative howls. The advertising paper and fallen leaves on the ground were all thrown up by the sound waves. Lu Jie stopped in an emergency, looked at the rubbish shaking on the ground and said thoughtfully. It seems that the weird creatures in the second district are not simple. Just relying on sound waves has such power. The body must be stronger. However, this is exactly what Lu Jie wants. His pupils were burning with excitement, and he swooped straight forward. Finally, saw this weird creature on the other side of the street corner. The whole is composed of gray-white sarcoma, like a mountain of meat. The protruding muscles on the chest, the lines are smooth and tough, and 10 steel claws nearly 1 meter long stretch out from the thick and perverted arms. Dripping blood and minced meat dripped on the steel claws. The soles of the feet were covered in bloody red footprints. Seeing this, Lu Jie's eyes turned cold. This strange head killed many people at the first glance. The blood between the teeth and claws said it all. So he didn't hesitate. With a thought, the golden hell flame at the core instantly enveloped his whole body. Lu Jie is like a spirit of fire coming out of hell, descending to the mortal world with torrential fire. Roar! The level of this monster was level 3, and the moment he turned his head to see Lu Jie, a bloodthirsty and cruel smile appeared in his eyes. You're just a mere person, how dare you find yourself alone? Court death. Boom. The strange creature of Roshan smirked and waved its giant claws, trying to tear Lu Jie into pieces with one blow. The sharp steel claws revealed a cold light in the moonlight. 10 metal scratches flashed across the sky. He blatantly cut at the oncoming Lu Jie. There was a sneer on the corner of Lu Jie's mouth. Since the opponent took the initiative to attack, he just saved himself the process of sprinting. He remained motionless, but the fire on his body quietly expanded several times. For a moment, the mighty flames devoured the giant claws of the third-order strange creature. It has not yet been reflected to the extreme. Melted instantly. Z-la-la. Thick smoke and black fog filled the moonlit street. The burning pain was accompanied by the piercing penetration of both arms into the weird brain. The terrifying high temperature directly changed his expression. Only one face to face. I lost my arms. At this moment, this third-order weirdness is no longer as ferocious and violent as before. It has only one thought in mind, and that is to run away. Unfortunately, Lu Jie didn't give it this chance. A huge and simple fire sword extended from Lu Jie's right arm. Gently swipe at the strangeness. Bark. This third-order strange body was cut in half. The cut is not smooth, because it has been melted into scorched flesh by the terrifying heat of hellfire. Boom. Roshan fell to the ground strangely. Lu Jie put away the flames on his body, and casually picked up the spirit crystal that fell on the ground. Hey, if this is in the first district, the third-order weirdness can't let me explode a black box. Lu Jie held the spirit crystal in his hand and was in a good mood. Then he took out the compass. Continue walking towards the next weirdly marked location. The location near the center of this fog. Under the walls of a coal-fired power plant. A grimacing spider about the size of 2 people and the height of a child was cornered with white silk. Under the bright moonlight, Lu Jie's thin but tall figure gradually approached. In front of him, a silver-white soul chain was slowly flying. The flame on the body surface is also gradually extinguished. In order to exercise the proficiency of his abilities, Lu Jie did not adopt a one-hit kill fighting method. Instead, use a small strand of hellfire to continuously force it to move, and then use the soul chain to change its shape and kill it with one blow. Go! Lu Jie spat lightly in his mouth. The soul chains that were originally winding and circling instantly turned into flaming guns burning with raging hellfire. The sharpshooter aimed at this third-order weird grimacing spider. Whoosh! Broke through the air. Instantly pierced the grimacing spider's body. Burnt black smoke rose slowly, and the soul chain that turned into a spear was quickly pulled out under Lu Jie's mental control. It turned into a winding chain again and disappeared into the void. Slap. Another flaming spirit crystal. It only took Lu Jie less than a quarter of an hour to deal with 2 third-order weirdnesses. At the same time, he harvested 2 third-order spirit crystals. This, spawning, speed and amazing gains. If other awakened people in the second district find out, I'm afraid they will be shocked. Normally speaking, 3-star awakened ones will have a hard time facing the third-order weirdness, one-on-one. And Lu Jie not only doesn't work very hard, but also kills every time. Such an easy-to-kill strange battle, I am afraid that it is really the only one in the world. The route chosen by Lu Jie this time is of course aimed at the center of the fog. But I will try my best to choose a direction with more weird creatures. After solving the 2nd and 3rd order weirdness, Lu Jie put away the spirit crystal and continued on his way. Unexpectedly, on the way to the center of the fog, I bumped into an acquaintance. Chu Qingquan and 2 strange awakened people have already been waiting for a rabbit on the way to the center of the strange fog, waiting for a long time. One of them had 5 stars on the badge on his shoulder. It turned out to be a 5-star awakener. The moment Chu Qingquan saw Lu Jie, his eyes lit up, and he swaggered up to Lu Jie, uttering nonsense. "Good boy, how the hell can you hide? I brought a 5-star awakener this time, let's see if you're still crazy. I must kill you today." 5-star awakener. The existence of this level, the lowest are people from the 3rd district. There is an overwhelming advantage between the strength and the 3-star 4-star awakened in the 2nd district. Enough to sweep away a piece of existence. Lu Jie thought in his heart, his eyes turned cold. This Chu Qingquan, in order to deal with him, really spent all his money. The other side. They finished. The 2 people next to Chu Qingquan walked forward with grim smiles. Especially the 5-star awakened person looked at Lu Jie like a dead man. The 3 of them have already made plans to kill Lu Jie right here. Although the Academy of the Holy Spirit has already set the rules. Among the awakened people in this country, they cannot kill each other. But in the weird mist, there are powerful and bloodthirsty weird creatures everywhere, extremely dangerous. You are a little 3-star awakened person, you have just been promoted from the 1st district to the 2nd district, and you are still a lone wolf without teammates. It's reasonable to accidentally encounter an overpowering strange creature and die in the mist, right? It was with this idea that Chu Qingquan dared to blatantly shake people from other areas, and intercepted and killed Lu Jie in this weird fog. Anyway, even if a small 3-star awakened person dies, no one cares. There will be no official investigation into how he died. Ha 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 ha. When he thought that Lu Jie would be killed by the 3 of them together later, he could see this enemy who made his teeth itch to hate die tragically. Chu Qingquan felt indescribably happy, and couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Brother Chuan, I've made all the arrangements. No one will pass by this road at all, let's do it here, without anyone noticing. Let my younger brother help you to test the depth of this kid." At this time, the younger brother next to Chu Qingquan came out to flatter him. Chu Qingquan was very satisfied with his attitude and nodded. The 5-star awakener next to him didn't refuse either. With his majestic 5-star realm, he must be able to pinch a small 3-star awakener. If you can let the people under you take the first shot, then naturally you don't have to use your own sword. "Boy, I'm sorry. If you want to blame you for not having eyes, offending Brother Chuan." That little brother got the approval of both Chu Qingquan and the 5-star awakened person. Even more eager to try, he pulled out the sword from his waist, pointed at Lu Jie, and muttered non-stop. He just wanted to release his ability, so that he could catch everyone's attention first and catch Lu by surprise. But he didn't expect that Lu Jie on the opposite side moved faster than him. From the beginning to the end, it started when the 3 of Chu Qingquan appeared in front of Lu Jie. He kept a calm expression. Calm face. Even in the face of a powerful 5-star awakened person, there is no fear. Lu Jie was even a little impatient. The 3 guys in front of him clamored for a long time and didn't come up. Finally let him wait until the younger brother next to Chu Qingquan held a weapon and wanted to gesticulate with him. Tang! Boom! A raging fire engulfed the little brother's body in an instant. The whole process takes less than 3 seconds. With Lu Jie as the center, a radius of 5 meters completely turned into a sea of flames. And that little brother, the body has long been burned to ashes. In flames, Lu Jie's face slowly emerged, revealing a bright smile. "I heard that this path was specially chosen by you. No one to bother. That's right, killing you will save you trouble." Chu Qingquan was furious. His body seemed to be stressed, and he watched helplessly that the younger brother who had been saddled by his side turned into ashes in the blink of an eye. He never expected that he would invite a 5-star awakened person and suffer such a big loss. In a fit of rage, he yelled, Brother Jing, let's go together. Kill this kid. The name of the 5-star awakened person was Ma Jing, and there was a little surprise in his eyes. He also didn't expect that Lu Jie could instantly kill a 3-star awakened person of the same rank so quickly. But that's all for now. I am a dignified 5-star awakened person. In this second area, it is the top of the pyramid. To deal with a 3-star rookie, it is not an exaggeration to say that it is a blow to dimensionality reduction. The attack of 2 people. Lu Jie looked at him coldly. No matter which direction the opponent is attacking from, he will instantly ignite a raging hellfire, making the opponent have to give up. Using the fiercest spear like Hellfire to turn it into the strongest shield made Chu Qingquan and Ma Jing helpless for a while. This kid has weird abilities, you can't fight him hand to hand. Seeing that he couldn't get close, Ma Jing decisively informed Chu Qingquan who was next to him, and changed his tactics. He wants to go alone. Crush Lu Jie with the supernatural power of a 5-star awakener. Hellthorn, Ma Jing roared. In an instant. The world was dark. The hazy moonlight was blocked out. Like half an eggshell upside down on the ground. Within a radius of more than 10 meters, countless black branch-like metal spikes appeared densely. Each spike is comparable to the strength of a special metal. Not to mention ordinary flames, even E-level and C-level supernatural fires may not be able to blow out. Countless black metal spikes are like hell in Hades, turning an area of hundreds of square meters into a fortified Shira field. As long as it is not an elemental or soul-like body, it will definitely die inside. That's awesome, Brother Jing. It is indeed right to find you. Chu Qingquan leaned over excitedly, and looked at the magnificent masterpiece in front of him side by side with Ma Jing. Within a radius of more than 10 meters, there is darkness and hell spikes. Each spike is several meters high, cold and sinister. All of them rose from the ground, and they were hard to guard against. Lu Jie happened to be in it and couldn't even run away. Ma Jing smiled coldly. Don't worry, this kid is shrouded by my hell thorns, he must have been stabbed into a sieve. Must die. Chu Qingquan's eyes were shining brightly, still staring at the dark area ahead, nodded and said. That's right, Brother Jing will know if there is one as soon as he makes a move. That kid can die under the big move of your majestic 5-star awakened person, it's considered a face. The two talked with each other one by one. The expression is excited and confident. Convinced that Lu Jie is dead. Next second, a sudden accident happened. Click, click, the semi-elliptical dark area cracked open like a broken eggshell. What followed was a monstrous fire. The fire was blazing. Wherever you go along the way, not a single blade of grass grows. The hell thorns, which were said to be as strong as special metals, were also burned to ashes. An evil spirit that was burning with the flames of hell and whose body was as dense as bones stepped out step by step. This person is Lu Jie. His injured legs, torso, and arms are rapidly recovering under the raging hellfire. In the white and hollow skull, 2 eyes burning with fireballs stared at the 2 people outside majestically and domineeringly. When Chu Qingquan saw Lu Jie's appearance, he was scared to pee. The whole body trembled, pointing at Lu Jie with trembling fingers, speechless. Ma Jing next to him was also dumbfounded. His mind was blank, he couldn't believe it, his 2 twitches were shaking, and he was shivering. You, how is it possible? How can that be? Elementalization. No, this is not elementalization. Why are you like this? Thump. There was a sound of falling down, and it was Chu Qingquan who looked at Lu Jie, who looked like a demon, and fell to the ground in fright. He swallowed saliva frantically. Lu Jie in the form of an evil spirit was reflected in his pupils, like a devil coming out of hell. No, it's impossible. How could anyone in this world be able to resist the ultimate move of a 5-star awakening? Single quote. What's so weird about this guy? Chu Qingquan was frightened. His heart was like a turbulent sea, which had already made him slurred and unable to speak. Boom! A more violent burst of fire burst through. In the blink of an eye, all the hell spikes summoned by Ma Jing melted and collapsed, and then incinerated into nothingness. Even the guiding concrete poles on both sides of the road and the gates of shops facing the street were all incinerated in the raging hellfire. The terrifying high temperature has already exceeded the limit of understanding of these 2 people. Looking at this scene, Ma Jing's heart was shocked, and he was numb. I am a majestic 5-star awakened person, AC level supernatural ability hell stabbing with all my strength. Even Qingliangwo, who is also sea level, couldn't burn out his hell thorns. What level is this guy's flame? There is such a high temperature that it can even easily melt cement and steel. Da da, da da, the tongue of fire swallowed blazing stars. It fell to the ground, burning small potholes on the dark blue asphalt road. The night was dark and the wind was blowing everywhere. The sound of the wind mixed with the whistling sound, even blowing the hellfire on the surface of Lu Ji's body, forming a violent fire tornado. Lu Jie quietly stood in the center of the eye of the fire tornado, silent, but it brought incomparable psychological pressure to the two people in front of them. Facing Lu Jie, who turned into an evil spirit, Chu Qingchuan finally came to his senses after trembling with fear. He gritted his teeth, his eyes suddenly became fierce. Fight. No matter how evil this kid is, can he beat the two of us together? It's just a 3-star trash. As he spoke, he picked up the weapon that fell on the ground. Get ready to rally and fight again. In Lu Ji's dense bones, fierce hell flames were burning in the eye sockets. In the face of Chu Qingchuan's stubbornness, he made an ethereal and grand sound. Like the demons of hell chant loudly. A piece of rubbish that lives under the background of the Big Brother, has been defeated by my hands time and time again. Don't kneel down and beg for mercy, beg for my forgiveness, and dare to spit out fragrant words. Who gave you the confidence? Boom. The bursting hellfire suddenly swelled up at this moment. Lu Ji's arm slowly turned into a huge sharp sword. The wavy flame edge, like the magic sword Awa Faith, shot out from Lu Ji's hand instantly. Pooh. Flying like lightning, it pierced Chu Qingchuan's chest in an instant. The huge flaming sword hoisted Chu Qingchuan's body high, and Lu Jie threw it away. It was like throwing away a dead chicken and threw it out. Seconds. Ahem. Chu Qingchuan, whose body was pierced by the flaming giant sword and hit the ground heavily, unexpectedly survived. Sprawled on the ground weakly coughing up a few mouthfuls of blood, unexpectedly got up again with difficulty. His face was extremely horrified, and the little bit of fighting spirit that had just been ignited disappeared in an instant. On his chest, a emerald green gem pendant emits a hazy emerald light. It was this emerald light that protected his body. Ma Jing, the 5-star awakened man, was jealous in his heart. This pendant was a life-saving treasure given to him by Chu Qingchuan's big brother Chu Qinghai. It is enough to withstand the full blow of the 6-star awakened person. Ma Jing couldn't help cursing inwardly. Shit, such a precious treasure is wasted like this. While envious and jealous, he had to look up at Lu Jie, whose whole body was covered in flames and his body turned into bones. It's like facing a big enemy. Lu Jie walked slowly, approaching the two of them step by step. The grand fire is like a great gift from the devil, reflecting it like an ancient evil spirit. Tonight, the fire of hell will cut through the night and burn all the darkness. High-spirited words came out of Lu Ji's mouth. Ma Jing's heart trembled when he heard this. Cannot wait. This kid has weird abilities. Single quote. Keep waiting, it's no different from sitting and waiting to die. Single quote. Thinking so, Ma Jing made up his mind to strike first. Anyway, my 5-star realm is to really crush the opponent. Edging my father can also consume you to death. Ma Jing's eyes flashed coldly, and a handful of hell thorns appeared in his right hand, which was exactly the same as before. The dark color exudes a gloomy atmosphere. The hell thorn slashed heavily at Lu Ji's body, but was blocked by Lu Jie with the flaming sword. Kang! Metal roared, and the sound clanged and trembled. The two giant sharp blades collided together, emitting a terrifying sound wave. Chu Qingchuan, who had just got up from the ground with difficulty, was directly knocked down by the sound wave. Ma Jing's expression became extremely ferocious, and he fiercely raised the hellthorn in his hand again to slash at Lu Jie. Since he didn't cast spells in a large area, all his source power was blessed on this hellthorn, so Lu Ji's hell flame couldn't incinerate it. The main thing is, the strength of Ma Jing's 5-star awakened person is terrifying, and the level of source power in his body and his own physical fitness far exceed that of Lu Jie. The momentum of each blow has the effect of being powerful and heavy. Lu Jie parried, feeling as if a hammer had hit his arm. Every time I transformed into a new flame blade, trying to pierce Ma Jing's body. The giant conical hell thorn in Ma Jing's hand can change into a kaleidoscope shape in time, stretching out countless hedgehog-like thorns. Back and forth, Ma Jing parried all of Lu Ji's attacks. Lu Jie also had to expend a lot of energy to defend against Ma Jing's fierce slash. Lu Jie found that he couldn't hold it for a second at all. A 5-star awakened person, whether it is the source power in the body or the 6-dimensional quality, is much higher than the 3-star realm. Lu Jie remained calm throughout the battle, carefully calculating the pros and cons of both sides in his mind. And Ma Jing was even more astonished. A 5-star awakened person can't take a small 3-star for a long time. And I actually have to maintain a high degree of mental concentration at all times, otherwise, if I am not careful, I will be pierced through the body by the elusive flame blade on the opposite side. Rumble. The pitch-black thorn of hell and the golden sword of Hellfire collided with each other. Every blow is a firefight of iron, blood and strength. The sparks generated by the impact are splashed in all directions. It fell to the ground, forming a concave hole. Hit the wall and incinerate the reinforced concrete structure inside. The two people who were fighting gradually turned into a real fire. Lu Jie has one arm, full firepower. With a hard move, the void summoned a silver-white soul chain to join the battlefield. The soul chain, like a silver dragon, shuttles flexibly between Lu Jie and Ma Jing. The surrounding environment was beaten into a mess. Like a peaceful world, the thick layer of asphalt that was laid was abruptly wiped away. The surface was leveled with potholes like a bulldozer. The glass of the shops and office buildings facing the street was broken, the walls were peeled off, the supporting steel bars and steel frames were broken and melted, and dark red molten iron was falling. Puff! Finally, with a transparent sound, Ma Jing's eyes lit up. Relying on his 5-star physical fitness and huge reserve of source power, he finally overwhelmed the other side, and ruthlessly stabbed the hellthorn in his hand into the other side's body. Very good. Brother Jing is doing great. Chu Qingquan, who was evaded by the horrific battle between the two, jumped up excitedly when he saw this scene. Finally succeeded. The 3-meter-long conical night spear ruthlessly pierced into Lu Ji's body. He definitely doesn't have the treasures bestowed by powerful awakeners. There is no doubt that he must die. Watching the thorn sinking into Lu Ji's burning body, Chu Qingquan felt that the injuries on his body did not hurt anymore, and his fear of Lu Jie disappeared. Anyway, the sky cleared and the rain stopped. He felt like he was going to stand up again. Only, Chu Qingquan just wanted to walk to the center of the battlefield and greet Ma Jing. A violent flame instantly baptized Lu Ji's body and the ghost spear in Ma Jing's hand. You guys, what are you happy about? Lu Ji's indifferent words resounded loudly. Ma Jing's hand holding the hellthorn trembled violently. Chu Qingquan's excited and joyful face froze instantly. He opened his mouth wide and couldn't close it from ear to ear, looking at Lu Jie in disbelief, terrified. How is it possible? You have obviously been pierced through the body, why are you unscathed? Why aren't you injured? Why aren't you dead? Lu Ji's reshaped body from the hellfire stood in front of the two of them intact. This scene completely shocked Chu Qingquan so much that he almost lost his mind. Ma Jing was so shocked that he almost couldn't hold the weapon in his hand. Why? After expending a lot of effort, he managed to kill him with one blow, and stab the spear hard into his body. Why? The other side was unharmed. Could it be that this person is the reincarnation of a demon, possessing an immortal body? To this, Lu Jie didn't bother to explain. The self in the form of evil spirit, repairing the injury, is really the passive of the fur in the fur. No nonsense. Flames flickered in Lu Ji's eye sockets that had turned into bones. The soul chain flying in the air instantly turned into a straight silver spear, piercing through Ma Jing's body in front of him. Then the gun head turned into a soul chain turned into a chain again, tightly pulling out a light blue soul. Bundled in the sky, the light blue soul struggled frantically, but to no avail. This Tao came from the depths of Ma Jing's soul, full of endless regret and despair. Why did I agree to Chu Qingquan? Why did I have to go through this muddy water? After provoking such a ruthless person, Ma Jing really felt remorse and wanted to kill Chu Qingquan. Lu Jie raised his eyes lightly, and his eyes moved. The ferocious hellfire burned it into nothingness. On the ground, Ma Jing's body also limp and collapsed on the ground. The Chu Qingchuan people who witnessed all this with their own eyes were almost scared to pee. He was really scared. Looking at Lu Ji's fiery evil spirit form, his heart trembled. The 5-star awakeners were all killed. Are you still running? He is about to run away. The great fear made Chu Qingchuan's legs weak, and he limped when he ran, embarrassed and funny. Like a demon, Lu Ji's eyes were burning with hellfire, quietly watching Chu Qingchuan who was fleeing. Not in a hurry to make a move at all. He is like a cat catching a mouse, with hellfire attached to his body, wandering in the night like a ghost. Wherever you go. A road of thorny ruins was incinerated from the ground. Lu Ji's ethereal voice also floated on the silent road. Run, keep running. When Chu Qingchuan's already weak-legged body heard the ghost-like voice, he trembled with fright and almost fell to the ground. He crawled forward with claws and teeth, while crying for help. Whoosh! A 50 centimeters flaming arrow shot across the night sky and pierced through Chu Qingchuan's thigh. Whizzing! Another 2 flaming arrows came. Chu Qingchuan's thighs and arms were all nailed to the ground. Lu Ji's whole body was burning with flames, and with every step he took, a footprint that melted everything would appear on the ground. Chu Qingchuan's limbs were nailed to death, excruciating pain and breaking out in cold sweat. Seeing Lu Ji approaching again, he was so frightened that he was out of his mind. In a panic, he once again held out his big brother as a threat. You can't kill me. My big brother is Chu Qinghai, a 9-star awakener from District 5. You killed me, my big brother will never let you go. Lu Ji was speechless for a while. It's all here, starting with Chu Qingchuan intercepting and killing himself on the road leading people. The two sides are already in an endless situation. Also move out your own background backer, is it useful? Just when Lu Ji was speechless in his heart, a sudden accident happened. Chu Qingchuan, who was originally nailed to the ground, broke free from the shackles at some point. There was an extra crossbow in his hand, and a small dark green arrow was shot from it. The small arrow quickly shot into Lu Ji's body. Lu Ji felt a pain in his stomach, but recovered after a few seconds. Chu Qingchuan is stupid. This time, he was completely paralyzed to death on the ground, and there was only incredible shock and unwillingness in his eyes. Lu Ji is too lazy to talk nonsense. Zhang condensed countless flaming arrows and shot them into a sieve. Then a big fire. Chu Qingchuan died without a whole body. After the flame is extinguished, the scene was a mess. There are ruins and rubble everywhere. Chu Qingchuan's body was completely reduced to ashes, leaving no residue. The smoke cleared. This sudden interception battle came to an end completely. The flame on Lu Ji's body was extinguished, and the bones turned into flesh and blood. Everything returned to the thin, tall and sunny boy before. Only, the 3 people who came to intercept and kill were completely buried in the sea of flames. Lu Ji walked to the front and picked up a small and neat crossbow from the ground. It was heavy to hold, as if heavier than gold. It survived the heat of hellfire unscathed. Lu Ji played with it in his palm, thinking about his own affairs silently. Just now, Chu Qingchuan actually had a whole card in his body, and it was this crossbow that shot into his body. At that time, I really felt a touch of pain. Theoretically, pain should not exist for the demonized self. So, my current fusion degree is still too low. Lu Ji stroked the small crossbow and sighed. My own fusion is still not high enough, so the evil spirit form is not strong enough. But, this spirit weapon is good. Although it is a bit heavy, it is powerful. Lu Ji decided to take it away. Needless to say, this crossbow was also given to him by Chu Qingchuan's 9-star big brother. There are a total of 3 small emerald green arrows inside, 1 is used up and there are 2 remaining. This small crossbow can actually corrode the enemy's flesh in an instant. Toxic, more overbearing than the most venomous snake in the world. After checking the function of the small crossbow, Lu Ji felt a chill in his heart, and was startled by Chu Qingchuan's weapon that plotted against him. If he hadn't possessed the evil spirit form and could instantly recover from his injuries, any other person would have died. Then count the life-saving pendant before. Chu Qinghai really had nothing to say to his younger brother, and gave him 2 priceless treasures. Chu Qingchuan died, and Chu Qinghai would definitely not let it go. In the foreseeable future, Big Brother will definitely come to make trouble for himself. But, the corner of Lu Ji's mouth curled up slightly. There is always a solution to a problem. I am no longer the ordinary person who encountered strange creatures and had to run for his life. Since you want to kill yourself, no wonder you are so cruel. The battlefield was already in a mess. After Liu Jie figured it out, he stepped on the rubble and left the scene in a hurry. About half a day's work. There is a newcomer on this street. A team of Awakened from the 2nd District has arrived here. As soon as he entered his eyes, he was shocked by the astonishing scene in front of him. Where is this peaceful street for human life? You say that this is the scene of a fierce merger between two countries, and they all believe it. There are scorched and rolled land everywhere, those urban asphalt roads, the buildings and infrastructure on both sides of the roads, all become post-war ruins, a mess. This is all leftovers from high-temperature roasting. This is how asphalt melts and dries. Several Awakened ones frowned as they picked up the soft gelatinous objects on the ground. Suddenly, "Come here," an exclamation came from afar. Everyone rushed towards the sound. A dead body was seen on the ground. Just a glance. Hiss. A 5-star Awakener. Is this person actually a 5-star Awakened? Everyone saw the badge with 5 stars on Ma Jing's body, their pupils constricted and their breathing became short of breath. They looked at each other and stared at each other, realizing the seriousness of the problem. The highest in the 2nd District is the 4-star Awakened person. How could there be a 5-star Awakened person? And it's dead. The captain of this team stood up, stroked his chin and pondered for a moment and said, "It is very likely that the strange creatures in the high-level area will flee to our 2nd area. This 5-star powerhouse may have died on a strange creature in a high-level area." The team members looked horrified and their scalps were numb. They all looked around involuntarily. Strange creatures in advanced areas. Could it be that the horrible, peaceful, ruins around were caused by the ability of this strange creature? Hiss. He took another deep breath. All the teammates looked dignified and panicked. The other side. Liu Jie didn't know what kind of shock the scene of his battle had caused to others. At this moment, his right arm was on fire, forcing a 3rd-order weirdness. This weird ability is difficult to deal with. The whole body is scattered together like plant spores. Hundreds of millions of spores form the eyes of the strange creature, and hundreds of millions of spores form the mouth, nose, and ears of the strange creature. Including the limbs and torso, all of them are made up of countless spores. Hard to find entities. The most troublesome thing is, the countless spores casually sprinkled by this 3rd-order weirdness have grown more spores again. The reproduction rate is astonishing. Liu Jie was careless at first. A few places were left out and were not burned cleanly. So 1 life, 2, 3, all things. This 3rd-order weirdness is endless. Liu Jie felt his patience was exhausted bit by bit. Tang. The fire became bigger, and Liu Jie changed from being on fire in his right arm to being covered in hell flames all over his body. With a wave of his hand, there was a monstrous sea of flames, which swept across all the surrounding areas that the spores could touch with an unstoppable force. "Can't you reproduce? A fire will burn it all for you," Liu Jie whispered, and continued to increase the intensity of the fire. It burned for half a minute. After making sure that all the corners in sight were not lost, Liu Jie slowly put away the ability. A blood-red spirit crystal burst out. Seeing this, Liu Jie breathed a sigh of relief. He could be said to have burned this difficult weirdness to death. Besides, there are also several blood-red plants with coquettish colors on the ground. This is a blood strain. Isn't this thing said to be extremely rare, and the growth environment is extremely harsh? Liu Jie collected these blood strains in surprise. This is a baby that restores strength and increases vitality. Liu Jie was only seen in the Weird Illustrated book before. According to the Weird Illustrated book, the growth environment of the blood strain is harsh and the effect is powerful. It is one of the best resources for the Awakened to improve blood energy. Did not expect. Killing a Tier 3 weird creature will explode it for Liu Jie. Earlier, Yu Shan told me that he once exploded Fengluan pill, and I thought he framed me, but I didn't expect that killing weird could really unleash good things other than spirit crystals. Liu Jie looked at the blood strain and the corner of his mouth slightly raised. It was a real surprise. Casting the evil spirit form by yourself, being strong is powerful, invulnerable to swords and guns, and invulnerable to all spells. But it's just too exhausting. In other words, lack of blue. If there are a large number of natural materials and earth treasures that can replenish the source of blood energy to help practice, then this problem can be easily solved. I calmed down for a while. Lu Jie put away the blood strain and spirit crystal. Look at the position on the compass, and continued to rush towards the center of the fog. Boom! There was a violent vibration. The gate of a skyscraper near the center of the fog was directly kicked open by someone violently. In the skyscraper, hundreds of well-dressed white-collar workers gathered. They usually work at the high level, but suddenly the fog descends. The elevator is so broken. All ordinary people working at the top are straight up desperate. This shit can't even run away, he can only wait to die. Jia Jia. A strange laugh came. Through the broken gate, 3 hideous and huge strange creatures walked in one after another. These 3 strange creatures are extremely huge, a full 3 to 4 meters high. And the whole body is made up of more than a dozen mutilated human bodies. Just like, more than a dozen corpses were mended, as if glued together. Such a terrifying and infiltrating 3 heads barged in strangely, and all the trembling people in the building shouted crazily. The cries of fear made a mess. Many people regretted coming down from the top. If they knew that the weirdness was blocking the door, they might as well hide and seek in the upper floors honestly. Why do you think that the first floor is safe and then run out? Suicide. Jia Jia. Jia Jia. The ugly and creepy creature let out a strange laugh, and walked in with blood oozing from its mouth. Just when everyone at the scene was frantically squeezing upstairs, but the more chaotic it became, the more they couldn't make it, and they closed their eyes in despair and waited to die. A raging fire rushed into the building from outside the building in an instant. Like a roaring flame dragon, wrapped around the bodies of 3 strange creatures, they disappeared in a blink of an eye. Wait until the dragon disappears. When the scene was quiet, everyone opened their eyes and found that the scary and hideous strange creature had disappeared. Instead, there was a young man who looked thin but tall. Lu Jie greeted them with a smile. Do not worry. It's safe here, hurry up and go. Say hello. He conveniently put away the 3 spirit crystals that fell on the ground. It's a pity that no other good things broke out. A group of people who survived the catastrophe in the building looked dull, still unable to believe that they had been saved. When someone reacts, Lu Jie has quietly left. His target is the black box in the center of the fog, which is the best resource that explodes every time the strange fog falls. Lu Jie went straight to the center of the fog along the compass line. According to the compass, there is probably less than 2 kilometers to go. Unexpectedly, on the way, they heard the sound of fierce fighting from a long distance. Lu Jie stopped and listened carefully, and it turned out that most of the shouts were from humans. In other words, the strange creatures encountered this time are very powerful. It is so strong that many awakened human beings attack together. Lu Jie's eyes lit up. The monster is stronger. High-level monsters can burst out better resources. The effect of the 3rd order erupting spiritual crystals must be much stronger than that of the 1st order and 2nd order. So far, Lu Jie has not encountered a more powerful strange creature. Think about it. Lu Jie changed the route, slightly deviated from the established route, and rushed straight to the source of the battle sound. Lu Jie's steps are light, riding the night wind with the moonlight, his movements are elegant and capable. Just arrived at the destination. Woo, hum. A complex and familiar long cry came to Lu Jie's ears. The voice. Was familiar. Lu Jie frowned, thinking secretly for a few seconds. Then suddenly realized, this sound is very similar to the horn that was heard by the railway when the train came when I was a child. I haven't heard that there is a subway or train near here. Lu Jie was wondering. Suddenly, 2 wounded awakened flew upside down from the sky and hit the ground heavily. Whoa, they vomited blood from their mouths, their faces were like gold paper, and they were clearly wounded. On their bodies, the uniforms of the awakened had been burned so badly that they couldn't see their original appearance. His face was covered with pitch black charcoal, and his exposed limbs, such as his arms and legs, had a lot of edema and red burns. When Lu Jie saw it, he knew it. The strange creature they besieged was probably a strange creature whose attribute was fire. The fire attribute is weird. Lu Jie thought softly in his heart, I don't know in my Hellfire, who is better. He took a step forward, eager to try, ready to fight this strange creature. Brother, wait, ahem. The two awakened who were lying on the ground and couldn't afford to be seriously injured suddenly stopped him. Lu Jie looked back suspiciously. The two struggled to prop up their upper bodies, coughing up blood while persuading Lu Jie. Brother, did you just come here? Please hurry up and call your teammates and more rescuers. In front is a terrifying fourth-order monster. Clepsydra Yasha. The strength is extremely strong. The current manpower is no longer his opponent, cough cough. After Lu Jie heard this, his expression didn't fluctuate much. Tier 4 weird creature. That was really difficult. Generally speaking, the overall situation in the second district is that the third-order weirdness is the mainstream, and the fourth-order weirdness is rare, but it is much more than the fifth-order weirdness. Once the fourth-order weirdness is encountered, it can still be won by relying on crowd tactics and strict and delicate cooperation. But the fifth-order weirdness is completely different. Whether it's a lone wolf or a small team, it's a narrow escape. It takes a while. The two people lying on the ground introduced the changes in the current situation to Lu Jie. In this battlefield, there are 2 4-star awakeners and 4 3-star awakeners. Such an excellent staffing, but they are still struggling. The main reason is that this fourth-order weirdness is very tricky, and it is sometimes tangible and sometimes invisible. In the illusory state, it cannot be touched at all. The most up thing is, in the illusory state of the weird creature, the attack on the awakened is effective. Such a perverted ability directly blinded these awakened ones. I can't hit you if you pretend that I can't hit you, and then you can hit me, it's not fair. Right now, the 2 seriously injured awakened people next to Lu Jie are one who was not paying attention, and was rushed into the sky and fell here by the illusory Clepsydra Yaksha's flame impact. Thank you. After listening to their explanations and descriptions, Lu Jie left a thank you note. This made the 2 awakened bewildered. I wipe. Cooperating with what the 2 of us said just now. This kind of strange creature that touches the invisible state only rarely appears in the third district. When encountering such a terrifying existence, isn't a normal person's first reaction to seek help? What's going on with this stunned young man running happily with an excited expression on his face? And at this time, woo, hum, the familiar sound like the long train roar sounded again. The expressions of the 2 people lying on the ground changed. They knew that this was a strange creature and it had become an illusion again. They looked at each other with bitter expressions. I don't know if the captain and the others can withstand it. Hey, if only the brother didn't have a headache just now, he ran to rescue the soldiers. The 2 of us are lying on the ground now, it's really suffering. Lu Jie stepped into the night and finally saw this fourth-order weirdness. There are 2 long and curved horns on the weird head. The body is fiery red, and it is in a transparent shape at this moment. Lu Jie saw it in his eyes and knew it in his heart. This is estimated to be the weird illusion ability. Really, Lu Jie also saw 2 4-star awakeners and 2 2-star awakeners, each holding a weapon, gasping for breath. They were all badly wounded, with redness and blisters all over their bodies. The clothes on his body were scorched and rotten, and they were burnt out of shape. At this moment, the eyes and the forehead are full of anxiety and irritability. The weird creature has turned into an illusion again. They can only be burned passively, but they can't hit weird. What a fire! On the teapot-like face under the horns of the Clepsydra Yasha, there was a strange smile that was more miserable than crying. The phantom body quickly floated towards the group of awakened ones. Prepare to explode with a big move and burn them to death in one breath. Whizzing, 2 flying swords shot away, passed through the body of the Clepsydra Yaksha, and as expected, it still penetrated in an illusion. The 2 4-star awakeners spat on the ground angrily. You can't even hit it. How do you hit it? The other 2 3-star awakened people grinned in pain, fearful as they watched the fourth-order Eerie approaching. An atmosphere of desperation enveloped this team with not low configuration. If nothing else, they are about to be burned to death by a new round of offensive. They were burned to serious injuries, perhaps their death will be next. Several people trembled in despair, swallowing saliva, silently waiting for death to come. Boom, there was a sound of bursting fire burning. The faces of several people with their eyes closed trembled, and they resisted not moving. They thought that it must be the fourth-order strange explosive big move, which was about to burn them to death. However, 10 seconds passed. The momentum of the flame explosion was still mighty, the heat was overwhelming, and the waves of fire followed. Even with their eyes closed, the four of them could still feel the impact of the flame. Only, they are curious. It's been so long. The big moves of the weird creatures exploded wave after wave. Why haven't they been burned to death? One of them couldn't help but opened his eyes, wanting to see what was going on. Just open your eyes. In an instant, his eyes widened. Pupils trembled, unstoppable shock. There was a gasp of surprise in his mouth. Hiss, I rely on it. Real or fake? The other three couldn't help opening their eyes after hearing this. Then, like the other person, his pupils suddenly dilated and his mouth was stunned. In view, a young man who looks like a god and demon, wearing a robe of flames, wrapped in a monstrous sea of flames, forced back that strange fourth-order creature. I know him. Isn't he a newcomer who just arrived yesterday? What kind of horse? That freak who was promoted from the first district just now. Isn't he new here? The F-level ability can actually force back the fourth-order strange creatures. How desperate the four were before, how shocked they are now. Fighting hard on his own side, but unable to do anything, the fourth-order strange being hanged and beaten was actually forced to retreat by an F-level ability user who had just been promoted from the first district. Such an unbelievable scene hit their hearts hard. Liu Jie stretched out his arms and suppressed the flames. Hellfire consumes a lot of energy, and it was released with all its strength just now to force way back and save four people. Now, he is ready to concentrate his strength and fight fire with fire. Use stronger and more violent hellfire to burn this strange fire attribute to death. Wait, brother. However, just when Liu Jie was gaining momentum and ready to make a move at any time, the two four-star awakened people behind him suddenly stopped him. Brother, my name is Chen Feng, and this is my teammate Chu Nan. Thank you for your timely action just now, for saving my life. The first four-star awakened took the time to drink a bottle of low-level healing medicine machine, and said quickly in a low voice. The other three also took this opportunity to speed up their healing. Another four-star awakened person, Chu Nan, showed gratitude and said, Brother, this weird ability is so tricky that it can illusory body. Once this strange head is allowed to display its abilities, we can only be beaten passively, and all attacks that fall on him will be in vain. I suggest that we join forces together, first find a way to force out this weird illusion ability, and then find a chance to kill him with one blow. Chu Nan's eyes were shining brightly. In his opinion, since Liu Jie can successfully push back a strange one, maybe you can force a second time. As long as this weirdness can be broken out of the illusory state, then with the strength of the two four-star awakeners present, he and Chen Feng, he will definitely be able to kill this weirdness. The remaining two three-star awakened people also nodded when they heard Chu Nan's words. In their view, this is indeed the best solution. It's just that Liu Jie's face is calm. After listening to Chu Nan's suggestion, he actually shook his head. Are you joining forces? I do not need. Liu Jie directly rejected the suggestion of these two four-star awakeners. He wants to go alone. Single kills are weird, the loot that comes out belongs to me alone, and if we join forces with you, we have to share the things. Liu Jie thought to himself. He urgently needs to become stronger, and naturally he will not let go of any opportunity. Besides, face enemies that can be illusioned. It may be tricky for ordinary awakened. But for Liu Jie, there is no solution. He wanted to try the power of the soul chain. The soul chain can penetrate the invisible, even if it is the unreal Wa, it can successfully hit and directly hit the opponent's soul. Is this kid crazy? Chen Feng frowned, he whispered in a voice that only a few of them could hear. After all, Liu Jie just saved their lives. It is estimated that he just forced back a fourth-order monster, and he is currently at the stage of bursting with confidence. Chu Nan also shook his head, feeling a little tricky. Behind the two of them, the other two three-star awakened people had even more complicated expressions on their faces. All four were speechless. A three-star awakened person actually wants to single out the fourth-order weirdness. It is still a fourth-order weirdness with the ability to unreal. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Just as the four shook their heads secretly, clenched the palm of Liu Jie's hand, he rushed forward with a raging fire. His eyes sparkled, and the flames in his palms gradually spread to half of his body. The extreme high temperature melted the asphalt road under his feet into a dripping semi-liquid trace. Klepsi Yasha was angry. It was angry that it was forced back by a small 3-star awakened just now. It was angry that Lu Jie dared to come up alone to die. This is clearly looking down on it. Woo, hum. The strange roar of trains sounded from its clepsydra-shaped sky cover, and thick white smoke steamed out. Next second, the body of the Clepsydra Yasha became transparent again. Like a fire elf, his whole body is fiery red, translucent like a monster carved from red crystal. Oops, this weirdness has used illusion, and the attacks from the outside world can't hit him. In the rear, Chen Feng Chunan and others who were paying close attention to the battle situation tensed up. They were suffering from the perverted and difficult skill of illusion before. At this moment, the Clepsydra Yaksha used it again, and this new brother who joined the battlefield might be in trouble. And at this time, after the Clepsydra Yasha successfully transformed his body into illusion, a smile uglier than crying appeared on his face again. In its eyes, Lu Jie is already a dead man. Ha! Boom! The fire was vigorous, stirring up countless sparks and stars. The battlefield was crimson, and the intense heat was intertwined and surging. Chen Feng Chunan even felt that the hairs on his body were about to be ignited. Finally, the two are about to collide, fire against fire. Fight in hand-to-hand combat, and the winner will be determined. A silver chain appeared above Lu Jie's head out of thin air. With lightning speed, it pierced through the body of Yasha the Clepsydra in an instant. Boom! Ah! A shrill scream suddenly crossed the deep night sky, followed by a loud howl. The voice is so shrill, it hurts my heart. What happened? Chen Feng Chunan was shocked. They saw that Lu Jie suddenly transformed into a silver chain. Immediately afterwards, the monster screamed in pain. Is it a spirit soldier? Chen Feng Chunan looked at each other, with unstoppable surprise in their eyes. What kind of spiritual weapon can actually touch the invisible? No, that's not a spiritual soldier. Chen Feng knew a lot about spiritual soldiers. After a few more glances, he immediately judged that the soul chains were not spiritual soldiers. It's not a spirit soldier. Then what's going on? I heard it's not a spirit soldier. Chunan was even more shocked. And at this time, after Lu Jie successfully stabbed Tier 4's strange body with the soul chain, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. It worked. Then he clenched his fist. The soul chains changed shape rapidly in the sky. It turned into a silver cage with complicated and exquisite shapes, and it fell from the sky. The strange creature was directly imprisoned. Lu Jie narrowed his eyes slightly, stretched his arms, and the fierce hellfire erupted like a volcano. Erupting from his body, he violently leaned against the Clepsydra Yaksha who was trapped in a cage turned into a soul chain. What? A more miserable scream came out, and the sound was sharp, piercing the sky. After less than 10 seconds of screaming, it stopped abruptly. The hellfire slowly dissipated, the moment Lu Jie closed his fist. The world is at peace. And the silver-white soul cage in front of him. The fourth-order weirdness that could illusory body was completely burned to ashes. This. Chen Feng was stunned, his footsteps were frivolous, and he staggered back a few steps. The 2 3-star awakened people behind him supported him in time, but they couldn't help staring at Lu Jie's direction, swallowing hard. Rely on. Chunan was also stunned. He's numb. This Nima is too strong. A 3-star awakened person singled out a 4th-order strange creature with ease. Is the world in chaos? A few of them stood there doubting life. Lu Jie immediately took away a bigger and redder bead. This is the spirit crystal that erupted from the 4th-order weirdness. What? While putting away the spirit crystal, Lu Jie's eyes lit up. They even found an ivory bell as red as pigeon blood. There is a windfall. Lu Jie was a little surprised. This bell is very similar to the material of the horns on the head of this Clepsydra. Lu Jie held the bell in his hand and thought about it in his heart. The texture is very warm, and as a bell, it is not made of metal. Lu Jie shook slightly, and there were bursts of strange sound waves from the bell. It's a different weapon, that's right. Lu Jie's eyes immediately brightened. In this world, human awakeners are fighting against weird methods. In addition to aura, there is also a special item called a different weapon. Generally speaking, after killing weird, 100% will drop a red spirit crystal. And some very special strange creatures, after being killed, a certain part of the body will turn into a special item. This kind of item is called a different device. The alien weapon has various functions, and it is not an exaggeration to call it the most cherished treasure. But the probability of this is relatively small. Liu Jie has killed dozens of strange creatures so far, and this is the first time that a strange weapon exploded today. I heard that the higher the level of weirdness, the more tricky the ability, and the stronger the effect of the strange weapon that explodes. Liu Jie looked at the bell in his hand, examined it carefully, and found that it was indeed a fourth-order alien weapon. Don't look at the similar appearance between the alien weapon and the spirit soldier. In fact, there is a big difference between them. Spirit soldiers are forged by strong human beings, and there are many powerful ones among them, but there are relatively few types. Ability needs to be empowered by abilities to achieve various functions. For example, the dark gold dagger that Liu Jie issued when he first joined the Psychic Association was said to be a spiritual weapon empowered in batches by a certain B-level high star awakener. The effect is to break armor, which is negligible. The upper limit depends on the forger, and the constraint factor is extremely large. Spirit soldiers are not as strong as alien weapons after all. This is my first alien weapon. Liu Jie thought about it and decided to name the bell. Why don't you call it the soul-destroying bell? Because, the effect of this bell is that when it is shaken, the sound it makes can be breathtaking, causing the opponent to fall into a short-term trance. The name Dementor Bell can be regarded as deserving of the name. Ahem, that, little brother, thank you for your help. Not only saved our lives, but also solved this weirdness. At this time, Chen Feng and Chu Nan limped along with the other two 3-star awakeners. Chen Feng opened his mouth in embarrassment. After all, he and others didn't believe him before. As a result, Liu Jie not only solved the fourth-order weirdness alone, but also won in an extremely neat way that could be called crushing. With such an astonishing record, it is inevitable that they feel embarrassed and feel a little uncomfortable facing Liu Jie. Liu Jie put the booty in his arms, and turned to face Chen Feng and the others. He smiled and said, helping each other is a matter of course. But, Liu Jie changed the subject, looked at the injuries on Chen Feng and the others and said, the wounds on your body need to be dealt with in time. Although the physical fitness of the awakened people is far superior to that of ordinary people, after a long time it will always leave sequelae. It is recommended that you leave first and move on, there is only one dead end. In the face of Liu Jie's pertinent advice, although Chen Feng, Chu Nan and the others looked unwilling, they were not unhappy. Although this place is very close to the center of the mist, the injuries on himself and others are so serious that they have to be dealt with quickly. Burns are not just simple trauma treatment. Body dehydration, it is the fatal factor. A few simple greetings. Liu Jie didn't stop there. He remained alone, and continued to travel into the depths of the mist. Chen Feng and the others watched Liu Jie's back together, and couldn't help sighing with emotion. It seems that we have a ruthless character in the second district. Deep in the fog, Liu Jie took out the compass and adjusted the final route in time. The expression on his face was relaxed, and he was very satisfied with the battle just now. He found that the effect of the soul chain is amazing. With this method, he will be invincible in the third district. That's where the illusory and weird creatures officially appear. To the third district, intangible creatures that are difficult for others to see. It's not a problem for me at all. Once the soul chain is released, all invisible and weird creatures have to kneel and crawl. However, I have to consider my promotion to 4 stars. Liu Jie thought as he walked. His overall strength has now reached the level of a 5-star awakener. When the realm reaches 4 stars, one can step into the third district. In the third area, there will be more and better resources to break through faster. Moreover, with Liu Jie's current strength, once he breaks through the 4-star awakened, he will be able to travel through the entire second district unimpeded. Basically walk sideways. Time is running out, seize the day. Sister, I have never forgotten the agreement to enter the Holy Spirit Academy together. Liu Jie secretly clenched his fists. Taking advantage of the night, stepping on the moonlight. His figure gradually melted into the depths of the mist. A few minutes later, Liu Jie successfully reached the center of the mist. According to the compass, within a radius of 1 kilometer, is where the final boss will appear. Liu Jie began to be cautious. It is the first time to enter the fog center of the second district, so be careful in everything. Sudden, Liu Jie looked at the ground ahead and frowned. He walked quickly, rushed forward to look, and immediately frowned even more. Corpse. Dead bodies all over the floor. Just a quick count, there are more than a dozen. Broken limbs were everywhere, and the solidified black blood was splashed all over the place. The thick bloody smell hit Liu Jie's nasal cavity, making people sick. The death is too miserable. Liu Jie inspected the corpse, frowning and whispering. At this time, several awakened ones arrived. Liu Jie scanned it, and the epaulets were all 3 stars. The arrival of several 3-star awakened people soon formed a small group of their own, and the formation was very exclusive. Presumably a member of a squad. Only, their expressions towards Liu Jie were not very friendly, rather vigilant and xenophobic. There is no other reason. Black box, these people are also determined to win. Liu Jie had a clear mind and knew what they were thinking, but he didn't express much. Anyway, when the time comes, each will show their magical powers and rely on their own abilities. Whoever kills Wei Wei will own the black box. Everyone has their own thoughts in their hearts, and they have their own little abacus. Some of those people seemed to have recognized Liu Jie, pointing at his boss and saying, "Captain, isn't that offending Liu Jie, Brother Chuan? Brother Chuan always said that he was going to kill him. We have many people now, and he only has one. If this guy is not paying attention, we will be behind." How sensitive Liu Jie's 5 senses are. Although these people lowered their voices, he could still recognize that they belonged to Chu Qingchuan. At this moment, they are actually discussing how to blackmail themselves later. Liu Jie's face turned completely cold, he just made a move. Sudden mutation happened. The dozens of corpses at Liu Jie's feet were resurrected. One by one, they twisted their necks and twisted their hips, crawling towards Liu Jie and the others with their weird angles twisted. The body movements of each corpse are filled with a word. Creepy. Liu Jie's heart trembled when he saw it, and he couldn't help cursing inwardly, is this a zombie infestation? The other 3-star groups had horrified expressions, their muscles tensed, and they immediately became vigilant. More than a dozen resurrected corpses had hideous faces. Coupled with their scary movements and bloody wounds, it is extremely terrifying. And most of all, these dozens of corpses actually still have the ability of life. All of a sudden, all kinds of magical and powerful abilities frantically moved towards Liu Jie and the team of awakened people. Liu Jie is quick on his feet and quick on his reflexes. Dodged the first wave of offensive that was caught off guard. And that group of Samsung awakened team was miserable. I don't know if it was because I focused on Liu Jie before or for other reasons. 2 team members were hit by the revived corpse ability and were seriously injured. How did these corpses come back to life? Could it be possible that all of them were made into puppets? The awakened who looked like the team leader roared angrily and chopped off the head of a zombie with all his might. I thought it would kill an enemy in this way. Never expected. After the corpse was severed, the zombie still moved freely. The severed head was even able to move on its own. It rolled to the ground and swooped, and the head bit the captain's calf by itself. What? The team leader screamed in pain, his expression horrified and terrified. He couldn't imagine why the head that had been cut off by him could fly over and bite his calf. Not just this zombie. Several other team members also quickly found out. These dozens of resurrected corpses not only have the supernatural powers of life, but also have a lot of weird tricks. For example, if a limb is cut off, in addition to being able to act independently, it can also be spliced back at any time. There was a 3-star awakened person who watched a zombie in front of him have his arm cut off with a single knife. The zombie picked up the severed arm again without realizing it, and violently butted it back. The backhand was a claw, which scratched off a layer of flesh on the face of the 3-star awakened person. Everyone was tired of dealing with such a weird and difficult method. The other side. Liu Jie's expression remained cautious, but his movements were light, and he easily dealt with the strange zombies. He has flames attached to his arms. But any zombie that finds him has no chance of recovering its limbs. Under the terrifying high temperature of the Hellfire, it was directly incinerated into nothingness. Right now, suddenly, dense footsteps came from the darkness. Then hundreds of figures rushed out of the darkness together. Liu Jie burned the zombies in front of him with a backhand, and turned his head to look at the hundreds of figures rushing out of the darkness. Roar, roar, roar. There was a low roar in their throats, and their eyes were fierce. As soon as the dense crowd surged up, they drowned the struggling awakened team in the blink of an eye. These hundreds of figures, like those zombies, were resurrected from dead bodies. Liu Jie observed for a while after fighting and found that although these zombies are ordinary people, they no longer have the powers they had in life. But it has a weird ability. Liu Jie saw with his own eyes that several corpses had their hands and feet chopped off by the awakened ones. Next second, the severed limbs grew back rustlingly. The regrown limbs squirmed and turned into pale tentacles, which could be shot out instantly to firmly lock the body of the awakened one. The mouth became like the mouth of an octopus, with viscous liquid, sharp and dense mouthparts, and white and sharp fangs. This is not a zombie, but an alien. Liu Jie looked psychologically uncomfortable. And the awakened ones who were surrounded by zombies also began to cry for help desperately. Liu Jie looked indifferent and ignored them. If these people had a slightly better attitude towards themselves before, or did not show xenophobia or hostility. Of course he doesn't mind helping out. As for now. Boom. Liu Jie's eyes froze, and monstrous flames erupted all over his body. The fire burst like a tornado, and the flames surged wantonly. The monstrous flames swept across the entire street. All the zombies around Liu Jie were all burned to slag. Boom, boom, boom. Finally, after Liu Jie broke out, there were heavy footsteps in the distance, like a drum beating on the human heart. Every footstep is heavy and makes the scalp numb. Liu Jie was wrapped in flames, and looked in the direction of the footsteps. The weirdness of an indescribably tiny creature with a height of 4 or 5 meters wriggling all over its body appeared in front of his eyes. Liu Jie's pupils shrank. This weird head, he's seen it before. It is exactly the same as the first time I met the spore. Only bigger. The shape is even more weird and hideous. Liu Jie looked at the corpses of ordinary people who were entangled with the awakened team. Only then did I discover that these zombies have the ability to regenerate their limbs, or change their limbs into various tentacled octopus mouths, all because of this strange creature. Those so-called limbs are actually white spores spreading from this strange creature. It seems that this is the most powerful strange creature in this fog. Liu Jie figured out the cause and effect, so he didn't hesitate. Now that we have found the boss in the center of the mist, then do it. A flaming giant sword burning with great prestige appeared on Liu Jie's arm out of thin air. He jumped a few feet, and slashed fiercely on the strange body of the giant spore with a volley of sword. Kyla, the flame-burning fat business rings out. Sizzling, white smoke, burning non-stop. Roar. The giant spores let out a strange howl of pain. Its body squirmed, and more spores crawled out along the ground. Instant effort. Just clinging to the group of zombies besieging the awakened team. The zombies roared angrily, as if they had been spat with chicken blood. All kinds of weird mutations emerge endlessly. Several of the zombies shot together, and the pale tentacles tightly locked the 2 3-star awakeners. Then the mouths of the other zombies instantly expanded to a terrifying size of 2 meters in diameter. Viscous pus, dense fangs. One bite. Clicking down, the heads of the 2 awakened people were bitten off. With only the body left, the corpse fell down heavily with a bang. After a while, he wobbled up again. Become a member of the zombie army again. The other side. Liu Jie holds a huge flaming sword and engages in a strange and fierce exchange of fire with giant spores. Wuxin didn't care about the 2 awakened people who died over there. There was a fierce battle for several minutes. Liu Jie found that this strange creature was quite difficult. It was more than 10 times more difficult than the previous little one. Evil spirit form. As soon as Liu Jie gritted his teeth, his gaze became resolute and fierce. He erupted with the last source of power, and the violent fire tornado flew together in an instant. Like a devil coming out of hell, with burning hell flames attached to his whole body, he walked out slowly. Liu Jie turned into an evil spirit, venting all the energy in his body to his heart's content. The endless hellfire is like a vortex tightly wrapping the giant spores. The terrifying heat burns everything. Liu Jie saw the timing and his heart skipped a beat. The silver-white soul chains appeared out of thin air. Turn into a vigorous silver snake and wrap it around tightly. after ensuring that all the escape routes of the giant spores are blocked by themselves. Lu Jie raised his right hand. A ferocious roaring fire dragon came out angrily. It was strange to swallow the spores in one bite. Chapter 41. The ferocious fire dragon devoured the entire strange creature. Waves of raging fire followed. Lu Jie's hair was blown upside down and messy, but his expression remained firm and indifferent. Ah! Sudden, the giant spores that have been devoured erupted in an endless roar. Lu Jie's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly backed away. The appearance of the giant spore swallowed by the flames in front of him changed drastically. Pieces of hard scales grew under the originally dense and huge number of white spores. Roar! A roar! The scale armor rushed out of the flames strangely, and rushed towards Lu Jie fiercely. Lu Jie had been prepared for a long time, and took a light step back to avoid it. As expected of the weird creatures in the second district, they are more difficult to deal with than those in the first district. Lu Jie sighed in his heart, this is only the second area, if it is changed to the fifth area, I don't know how terrifying those weird creatures will be. The strangeness of rebirth seems to have changed. It is no longer the wriggling appearance of a fat worm before, but like a strong and violent bullfighting bull. The hard scales, under the dark moonlight, reflected the light of metal. The streamlined body curves and explosive muscles all show the powerful power contained in this new and strange body. Lu Jie narrowed his eyes, and took out the soul-destroying bell from his bosom. It's just right, let me test the power of the alien weapon with you. Lu Jie aimed at the weirdness in front of him, and rang the bell in his hand rhythmically. This fourth-order alien weapon rippled out circles of sound waves, which passed along the air. Not for a while. The weird creature shook its head and staggered its steps. In the glaring diamond-like eyes, the shape of mosquito coils appeared in circles. Tisk tisk, it really is a powerful and precious weapon, the effect is absolutely amazing. Lu Jie kept shaking the bell in his hand. The breathtaking power completely suppressed the weirdness in front of him. The aura that rushed out of the sea of fire just now disappeared, and what was replaced was just a drunk, old cow. Seeing this, Lu Jie was relentless, his eyes froze, and a huge flaming sword whizzed out in his hand. The hand rises and the knife falls. The flaming giant sword chopped off the strange head. With a bang, the headless corpse fell to the ground. A dark red bead and a shield burst out. Lu Jie's eyes lit up, and his heart skipped a beat when he saw the shield. No way, could it be that? He hurriedly collected the spoils, except for the fourth-order spirit crystal. That shield is really another alien weapon. Counting the soul-destroying bell, I exploded 2 alien weapons in one mist. This luck, no one else. It can be said that it is extremely rare to harvest 2 different weapons at once. Converted out, it is as lucky as winning the second prize in the lottery. Besides, Lu Jie stepped forward again, kicking over the huge strange corpse. A black box lay quietly on the ground. Lu Jie picked it up. This is the real purpose of his trip. The black box is always the best resource that can be released in every weird fog. The awakened team behind them had only 2 wounded lying on the ground gasping for breath. When Lu Jie solved the weirdness, he also solved the source. It can be regarded as saving them in disguise. Lu Jie was not worried that they would have a different heart, so he directly opened the black box in his hand. Slap! A small flame burned quietly inside the black box. The color of the small flame is lavender and the temperature is extremely high. Under the flames, there is a bottle of potion. After seeing it, Lu Jie learned that its effect is to develop the potential and improve the quality of the awakened person. It is equivalent to enhancing the strength in disguise. Small flames can increase the temperature of the fire attribute awakener's abilities, and potions can increase my own 6-dimensional attributes. That's right, the contents of the black box this time are actually so rich. Lu Jie thought silently in his heart. Perhaps, this can also be regarded as a reward for coming to the second district for the first time. Shaking his head, he threw out the distracting thoughts in his mind. Lu Jie took out his compass and left the center of the fog. The boss in the center of the mist is resolved. But this is not a dungeon after all. Once the boss dies, all mobs will be G. Lu Jie has to clear up other strange things in the mist, save unarmed ordinary people, and get more spirit crystals at the same time. For the rest of the time, he is like a ghost in the night. Keep looking for weirdness, keep harvesting their lives. Soon, all the weird creatures in the mist were completely wiped out. After the fog disappears, Lu Jie returned with a lot of spoils. Back to the Psychic Society. Those 433 cheap teammates are still missing. But Chu Qingchuan, who didn't know the threat to them, had died in Lu Jie's hands. To this, Lu Jie will definitely not take the initiative to expose it. Anyway, in the training room alone, no one disturbs him, and he is happy and clean. Just didn't expect it. Early the next morning, Lu Jie met an unexpected person in the Psychic Association in the 2nd District. Vice President from District 1. Chen Baishui. Vice President, why are you here? Lu Jie said in surprise. Chen Baishui's charming eyes rolled his eyes at him, and her plain hands gently rolled back her hair by her ears. What? I can't come, Lu Jie said helplessly. Of course I don't mean that, I mean. Okay, Chen Baishui covered her mouth and chuckled. Just kidding, why are you so nervous? I'm here this time to apply to be transferred to the 2nd District. After finishing speaking, Chen Baishui pointed to his shoulder, and there were 3 stars on the badge. I am now a Samsung awakened. Seeing this, Lu Jie sincerely wished. Congratulations, Chairman Chen. He looked at Chen Baishui's eyes and felt a little strange. I always feel that the woman in front of me seems to have some big secret about her. Thinking about it carefully, it is really strange that a woman who is less than 30 years old is serving as the vice president of the 1st District. Because the young awakened ones have unlimited potential and vigorous blood, of course they all want to go further and go to a more advanced area to improve themselves. It is quite rare for Chen Baishui to choose the position of vice president in the 1st District. So, it was normal for her to apply to be transferred to the 2nd District. Lu Jie looked around Chen Baishui slightly, just. The timing of the plane is a bit too coincidental. As soon as she entered the 2nd zone, she also broke through. How is it? I heard that you went to the weird fog here yesterday, how is your performance? Lu Jie came back to his senses when he heard her voice, and said. Well enough. With a giggle on Chen Baishui's gorgeous face, she stretched out her plain hand and poked Lu Jie's face, teasingly said. That's good, my sister is looking forward to your performance. Finished. She left happily. Lu Jie touched his face, a little speechless. Although Chen Baishui is a few years older than herself, she has a figure and personality like a royal sister. But he said that his mental age is still quite mature. As for treating yourself as a younger brother. Later Lu Jie found a private room. Take out what I gained in the weird fog yesterday. A total of 13 third-order spirit crystals. 2 fourth-order spirit crystals. And a magical little flame and a bottle of potion. It has been rewarding. Lu Jie looked at them happily, took a deep breath, first picked up a third-order spirit crystal, and closed his eyes to practice. Boom! There seemed to be an invisible fire in the dark, burning on Lu Jie's body with a tang. The energy in his body soared. The gene fragment hidden deep in the blood, the part belonging to Hellfire, began to become active. As time goes by, 1, 2, 3. More than a dozen third-order spirit crystals were quickly exhausted, turning into dry white powder and dissipating in the air. Then came 2 fourth-order spirit crystals. Finally, the little flame, and the bottle of potion. All resources are consumed one by one. The aura that belonged to Lu Jie's body became stronger and stronger. Finally, ding! Congratulations on improving the host's strength. Bonus template fusion progress. Current template fusion degree, 10%. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully unlocking Evil Spirit Motorcycle. A familiar system prompt sounded in Lu Jie's ear. Lu Jie suddenly opened his eyes. 10%. I have a ghost motorcycle. Ding! The Evil Spirit Motorcycle is placed in the void, invisible and can be summoned by the host's thoughts. The system prompt told him where the ghost motorcycle was usually stored. Lu Jie's eyes sparkled. He concentrated his thoughts directly, and said silently in his heart. Summon the evil bike. The back of his head. An oval dark tunnel suddenly opened in the air. It was as if an endless void had been opened. Then a flash of fire burst out. Accompanied by the roar of the heavy and violent engine, a motorcycle burning with raging hellfire rushed out. The frame leans forward like a creeping tiger, the shock absorber and front-wheel drive like a dark golden ancient dragon skeleton. The thick and sharp chain hub bracket like Tiso is like a skeleton undead who chooses to eat people, watching everything in the world majestically. Such a mighty and domineering vehicle rushed out of the void and docked quietly in front of Lu Jie. His breathing stopped. He stared intently at the evil spirit motorcycle in front of him, which looked like an antique work of art, feeling excited. Just ask, who in this world can refuse a scorching motorcycle? Simply, so handsome. With a smile on the corner of Lu Jie's mouth, he walked around the evil spirit motorcycle, quite satisfied. Then my mind moved. The evil spirit motorcycle roared low and low, and drove into the void again. Everything returned to calm. Only in my mind, the sound of the throttle and the roar of the engine seems to be lingering. Check out the ghost bike. Lu Jie didn't forget his natal life, Hellfire. He pointed a little. A golden flame with a golden core leapt up. The flame flickered, flickered and flickered. The air around it, as if unable to withstand the high temperature, produced some kind of distorted fluctuations. Lu Jie found that with just a flick of his mind, he could instantly magnify the flame on his finger by 1,000 times. After merging the purple demon fire in the black box, his hell flame, both in terms of power and scope, has skyrocketed a lot. Plus that bottle of medicine that can improve the body of the awakened person. Lu Jie felt that his strength had improved dramatically. The strength is advancing by leaps and bounds. Of course he couldn't bear the mood of experimenting. But now there is no strange fog that he needs to sweep away. So Lu Jie simply came to the team's training room. There are hundreds of kilograms or even thousands of kilograms of dumbbells and presses on display. Sitting on it, Lu Jie found that whether it was bench press or traction, those once heavy and huge barbell plates were as light as wood in his hands. Without any effort, Lu Jie completed a set of internal training procedures for the awakened. Then he boarded the speedometer again. This thing is similar to the running machine in the previous life, but the core structure is much stronger. It was originally used to test the speed attribute in the 6-dimensional data of the awakened. Now it is simply used by Lu Jie as a tool for training speed. After 100 kilometers, Lu Jie was sweating profusely. But his eyes were shining, and the more he practiced, the more excited he became. This feeling of gradually cultivating and becoming stronger is fascinating. So Lu Jie ran to the gravity acceleration chamber again, and all the values were full. 40 times the gravity. Start it. 1 hour. Start it. Lu Jie has just finished training from day to night. Wiping his hair with a towel, Lu Jie washed off the stinky sweat all over his body. When I changed into brand new clothes, I saw my own shield. The precious alien weapon that burst out from the strange mist yesterday. My own strength is mainly based on the most extreme attack, and I don't need defense at all. Moreover, after turning into an evil spirit, any injuries will be healed instantly. Although the alien weapon is good and very precious, but the shield is really tasteless to me. Lu Jie sat on the sofa and meditated. He remembered that the 3rd floor of the Psychic Association was the trading area between the awakened ones. How about, take this alien shield and go to the trading area to exchange for some useful goodies. 9 heavens of frost and cold. The best spirit soldier, 9 heavens of frost and cold. Only 15 third-order spirit crystals are needed. Selling the marrow. The best marrow can relax the tendons and cut the collaterals, and improve blood energy. Is there anyone who sells the leaves of the ancient wood essence tree? I will buy them at a high price. Purchase spirit crystals at a long-term stable high price, and accept all grades. The price is easy to negotiate for a large quantity. Quote. As soon as Lu Jie stepped onto the 3rd floor. It's like being in a vegetable market. All kinds of yelling voices sounded one after another. Especially for those who are proficient in the source force, directly use the source force in the body to bless the vocal cords, the effect is more effective than the trumpet. Lu Jie looked around and turned around. It was found that the base currency for everyone's transactions was not the Dragon Country currency used by ordinary people, but spirit crystal. And the conversion ratio has strict regulations. 10 Tier 1 spirit crystals can be exchanged for 1 Tier 2 spirit crystal, 10 Tier 2 spirit crystals can be exchanged for a Tier 3 spirit crystal, and so on. In other words, the 2 4th-order spirit crystals that Lu Jie used before can be exchanged for 1,000 1st-order spirit crystals. After learning the news, Lu Jie was overjoyed. Sure enough, if you want to become stronger, you have to keep going up. If I stay in the first area all the time, no matter how many low-level spirit crystals burst out, I won't gain as much as killing a 4th-level strange in the second area. Empathy. This gap will only get bigger and bigger. ... After walking along the trading hall on the 3rd floor of the entire association for a week, Liu Jie basically figured out the configuration here. To put it simply, it is the stall setting area, intention area, and buying area. As the name suggests, the stall area, everyone puts the things they want to sell on fixed seats like a stall. You can yell, you can bargain, in short, it is exactly the same as the vegetable market outside. The intention area is not to use spirit crystals as currency, but the items that the two parties want to trade, and they have negotiated an exchange. But basically they will make up the difference. This is also the area where the most good things appear. As for the shopping area, some awakened people need all kinds of strange materials or treasures for special purposes. They put a reward on what they needed, and the price was quite high. Liu Jie didn't have a spirit crystal in his hand, so of course he went to the intention zone. He silently took off the alien shield wrapped in thick cowhide on his back. Then put it on the ground. Just about to write down what I want. An awakened person with yellow hair next to him couldn't help but exclaimed. It's not my eyesight, is it? Is this a different weapon? Huang Mao looked at Liu Jie as if he was looking at an alien, his eyes were full of shock and confusion. Brother, are you trading this thing? Liu Jie nodded. Huang Mao, who was confirmed, felt that Liu Jie was crazy. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva, looked at Liu Jie eagerly and said. Brother, can you show me your shield? After Liu Jie handed it to him, Huang Mao held the shield inside out and looked carefully, the shock and puzzlement in his eyes became more and more intense. My mother, it's still a 4th-order alien weapon. He couldn't help exclaiming. This voice also instantly attracted the attention of all the awakened people around. The news of someone selling alien weapons spread like wildfire. Soon there was a small commotion. Many people besieged Liu Jie in the center, scrambling to see his face. After they saw the badge with only 3 stars on Liu Jie's shoulder, they were even more uproarious. Really, a 3-star awakener has a 4th-order alien weapon in his hand. I'm already 4 stars, and I don't even have a weapon in my hand. It's really comparing people to people, it's so maddening. This guy doesn't know what to think, the 4th-order alien weapon actually wants to make a move. Is it stupid? It doesn't matter how stupid he is, since he wants to sell, we have a chance. A group of people pointed at Liu Jie, talking a lot. Liu Jie sat still like an old monk, watching his nose, mouth with concern. Naturally, it was impossible for him to explain one by one that this shield was useless to him, so he might as well sell it. Instead of wasting words, let them discuss it. If the bullets fly for a while, maybe I can get something good in exchange. Really, many people couldn't bear the heat in their hearts, and stepped forward to ask the price. Since Liu Jie is in the interest zone, he definitely won't sell spirit crystals. Everyone asked him what kind of baby he wanted. Liu Jie pondered for a while and said loudly, I need resources that can significantly increase the level of source power in my body. Potions, spiritual weapons, and special weapons are all fine. Raise the source of the baby. Everyone suddenly realized, each eyeball rolled around, and then quickly ran back to the first floor to pick up the goods. Seeing everyone swarming up, and then swarming away, Liu Jie secretly laughed. Soon, a fast-running 4-star awakener, holding 10 light blue medicine bottles in his hand, rushed to Liu Jie panting. Here, the potion you want to increase your source power. 10 bottles, is it enough? It can be seen that he seems to be very eager for this defensive weapon. Liu Jie took the medicine in his hand and checked it, and found that the effect was that it could greatly increase the level of source power in the body. 10 bottles of Yuanli potion are exchanged for only 1 alien weapon. Liu Jie earns blood. However, the man still had a hopeful and apprehensive look on his face, for fear that Liu Jie would disagree. Liu Jie knew in his heart that this shield was useless to him, but to others, it was an artifact that could save his life at critical moments. At that moment, he smiled slightly, and handed the alien weapon shield to the 4-star awakened person, completing the deal. The 4-star awakener was ecstatic on his face, and took the shield with trembling hands. When he reacted and wanted to exchange some pleasantries, It was found that Liu Jie had long since disappeared. The other side. In the conference hall on the 5th floor, the long conference table was full of senior executives from the 2nd District Psychic Association. President Tan Chaolin and the other high-level members of the association looked solemn and frowned, as if there was a large haze hanging over their heads. Everyone, Chu Qingchuan has not returned for 48 hours. No audio. If he is alive, where is he? If he is dead, where is the body? Tan Chaolin's tone gradually intensified, revealing his fury hidden under the deep sea. Not only that, we also found the body of a 5-star awakened person in the weird fog last time. According to our investigation, this 5-star awakened person is exactly the helper Chu Qingchuan invited from the 3rd district. According to the eyewitness team, the death of this 5-star awakened person was very strange. He didn't have any fatal trauma on his body, but the vitality in his body disappeared, as if he died suddenly. The most notable point is, the location of the corpse is a dilapidated ruin after the Great War, and from the ruins, we can conclude that the person who killed this 5-star awakened person may be strange, and the attribute is fire. A group of high-level executives read the information in their hands one after another. There are detailed photos and descriptions of the scene in the information. It's like the ruins after peace. Just looking at the photos makes me feel terrified. It was hard for them to imagine what kind of existence could possess such a domineering fire attribute ability. How can this be done? Chu Qingchuan's big brother is Chu Qinghai, the boss of District 5. Some senior officials expressed their concerns. In fact, this is exactly what the senior management of the 2nd District Psychic Association fears. Chu Qinghai, the 9-star awakener. If he found out that his younger brother had disappeared for no apparent reason, and was even very likely to die, wouldn't he be able to flatten this place in a fit of anger? It can be seen from the conversion ratio of spirit crystals. High-level areas and high-level awakened people have the advantage of reducing dimensionality against lower-level forces. Once Chu Qinghai comes over, who can stop the huge 2nd district? The dozen or so high-ranking officials felt bitter in their hearts. Our 1st district and 2nd district are just a novice village at best. Why all this trouble? The same is true for Chu Qingchuan, who is neither strong nor low, so he chose to settle in their 2nd district. Who doesn't know that the 1st and 2nd districts are the awakened novice village, and the 3rd and 4th districts are the backbone? And the 5th district, before the 6th district was opened, it was the top group of people. Chu Qinghai, a 9-star awakener, may become a heaven-level awakener at any time. The end of the conference table. A Sister Yu wearing a professional black polo suit has an indifferent expression. It seems that the concerns of the high-level people have not been taken to heart at all. Only occasionally when he lowered his head and didn't know what he was thinking, would he reveal a deep and mysterious smile. Could it be related to that kid who just got promoted from the 1st district? I heard that he has conflicts with Chu Qingchuan, and his supernatural attribute happens to be fire. At this time, an old man in a corner raised his hand tremblingly and asked. As soon as the words came out, someone rebutted on the spot. Old Chen, don't be joking. The kid who just got promoted is only a talent with F-level abilities. Even if he is trained for 101,000 years, it is impossible to cause the destructive incineration effect shown in the picture. However, Yu Jia, who was at the end, was thoughtful. Chen Baishui's charming and exquisite eyes showed a thoughtful look. Liu Jie, will this matter have anything to do with him? Chen Baishui had an unreasonable hunch in her heart, but she didn't say it in public. Instead, continued to remain silent until the end of the meeting. Time flies. Another 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. In the past 3 days, Liu Jie digested all the 10 bottles of Yuanli potion exchanged for the alien shield. Therefore, the level of energy in the body skyrocketed. He can maintain the evil spirit form for a longer time. At the same time, system hint, the fusion degree of Liu Ji's Ghost Rider template has reached a small step of 1%. Reached 11%, just as he changed into his training clothes and was about to go to the training room to continue training. An uninvited guest pushed open the door of his room. Liu Jie looked at the visitor in surprise, raised his eyebrows and asked. Vice President, how did you come? Chen Baishui didn't wear the familiar black professional attire today. Uncharacteristically, she went with the temptation of pure desire. The upper body is a wool sweater with a wide-open neckline. A pair of tight-fitting shark pants on the lower body perfectly outlined her S-class body curve. Cough cough. Liu Jie saw no evil, rubbed his nose and coughed twice. I secretly complained about the vice president in my heart. Who is tempted by such a big chest opening? Chen Baishui leaned against the gate, smiling and looking into Liu Jie's eyes. Chu Qingchuan is dead, she said abruptly. Liu Jie's heart tightened, and then he quickly adjusted his facial expression. Oh, Chen Baishui's beautiful narrow eyes can see all of Liu Jie's micro-expressions and micro-movements. There was a meaningful smile on the corner of her mouth. Continue to ask. I heard that there was a feud between you and him. In order to deal with you, Chu Qingchuan specially invited a 5-star awakened person from the 3rd district. Facing Chen Baishui's inquiry, Liu Jie has already made up his mind. He said calmly, really? There are indeed some conflicts between me and him. Many people in the 1st district and the 2nd district know this. Chen Baishui asked, is there anything else you want to say? Liu Jie raised his eyes and stared at her, what else? The two looked at each other for a long time. The sunlight outside the window in the morning poured into the window, and shone on the hair of Liu Jie and Chen Baishui at an oblique angle. Outside the house is the crisp chirping of birds. The breeze blows the fallen leaves, making the sound of shuttle. A man and a woman in the room just stared at each other for such a long time. Intel, puff, Chen Baishui covered her mouth and smiled. She looked at Liu Jie cheerfully, why are you so nervous? I'm just curious, just asking about the situation. Liu Jie quietly breathed a sigh of relief. He felt that Chen Baishui was a mysterious woman. Suddenly claiming that he has 3 stars, suddenly promoted to the 2nd district, and actually became one of the top executives of the 2nd district. I don't understand, and Liu Jie doesn't bother to think about it. By the way, when I was in the 1st district last time, I said that I would retest the level of your ability talent. But that time seems to be delayed, I will take you to retest now. Chen Baishui added at this time. With the strength of a 3-star awakener, Liu Jie killed the powerful 4th order strange. This has gradually spread, while everyone was talking about it. Anyone with a discerning eye also guessed that there might be a problem with the level of his supernatural talent. How could an F ranker kill the enemy by leapfrogging? Okay, to this, Liu Jie shrugged. It doesn't matter to him whether to test it or not, the main reason is that he also wants to know what level of power Hellfire belongs to in this world. The other side, however, something unexpected happened to the Psychic Association in the 2nd district. A man with a slender figure, a feminine face, and black-purple eyeliner on the corners of his eyes broke into the gate of the association. The security guard came up to him and asked about the situation. To be stared at by him directly and paralyzed to the ground. So more security personnel looked at each other and surrounded the guy. Unexpectedly, the feminine man just glanced again. The security personnel who surrounded them all fell to the ground. Very weird, such a sight. Many awakened people trembled in their hearts. Who the hell is this, so unreasonable to kill them? A very small number of 3-star and 4-star awakened who boasted of extraordinary strength stepped up to stop them, wanting to ask the ins and outs. But he was kicked and flew dozens of meters away. He directly kicked the person to the end of the hall on the 1st floor, smashed through the wall, and ruthlessly embedded in the solid wall. The sound of cracking bones was crisp and piercing. Creepy. Everyone's eyes on the feminine man changed. With just one kick, how many 4-star awakened people can be counted in seconds? This is just his pure physical power. The feminine man didn't seem to take anyone present seriously. After breaking in violently and finishing off a group of people who wanted to stop him, he walked up to the office on the 5th floor. Bang! The door to the president's office on the 5th floor was kicked open. The moment the president Tan Chaolin raised his head, the moment he saw the visitor clearly, he was so frightened that he almost died of fright. Chu Qinghai, why are you here? The visitor was none other than Chu Qingchuan's big brother, Chu Qinghai. Don't talk nonsense, where is my brother? We don't know Lingdi's whereabouts. Tan Chaolin felt bitter, facing such a plague god. The powerful aura from the 9-star awakened made it difficult to say anything that oppressed him directly. Call Ju. Chu Qinghai couldn't see any joy or anger on his face, but just dropped such a sentence lightly. Tan Chaolin nodded hurriedly and started calling for someone. Ju was Chu Qingchuan's lackey, and it was specially arranged by Chu Qinghai to help his younger brother in the 2nd district. With such a god of plague under his command, Tan Chaolin certainly knew who Ju was. Soon, the dog-legged Ju walked over tremblingly. "Hi, brother, hi, you are looking for me." Ju seemed to have seen a cat's old book, with her neck tucked into her body and her eyes dodging. "I ask you, where is my brother?" Chu Qinghai turned around and asked coldly. I don't know." Ju was terrified, trembling all over, standing on both legs. "Do not know." Chu Qinghai stared at Ju's face indifferently with his cold eyes, and said these words word by word. Thump. Ju fell to her knees on the ground in fright, and kowtowed frantically. "Brother, hi. I really don't know the whereabouts of Brother Chuan. Since he left for the strange mist some time ago, he never came back. Even Ma Jing, he died inside." Ma Jing. Chu Qinghai's eyes turned hard. He grabbed Ju by the collar and asked. "Ma Jing is from the 3rd district, a 5-star awakened person. How could he die in the 2nd district?" A 5-star awakened person, even if they encounter the most difficult 4th-level monsters, or 5th-level monsters of the same level, they can run away. Impossible to die in the 2nd district. There was a smell of urine. Ju was scared to pee by Chu Qinghai. The whole person seemed to have collapsed, and his body limply collapsed to the ground. Chu Qinghai threw it away in disgust. Only then did Ju gradually explain the conflict between Lu Jie and Chu Qingchuan in detail. He also mentioned that Chu Qingchuan called Ma Jing, a 5-star awakener, to kill Lu Jie in the strange fog. Just didn't expect it. Chu Qingchuan disappeared in the end, and Ma Jing also died strangely inside. Lu Jie. Chu Qinghai's eyes were cold. He squinted slightly, and said the name softly in his mouth. Then he held out a finger. There seemed to be a gust of wind blowing in the room. Next second, Ju, who was paralyzed on the ground, slanted his eyes and neck, and died. Tan Chaolin, who witnessed this scene, was even more frightened and dared not speak out. Chu Qinghai blatantly killed people in the 2nd District Psychic Association he led. And he is helpless. He didn't even dare to let out the air. This is the absolute gap in strength. The so-called ban can be broken at any time for this kind of person who stands at the top. Continue to add settings. Although the Academy of the Holy Spirit has issued express regulations long ago, it is forbidden to kill each other among awakened people in this country. But for the strong, this is just a blank sheet of paper that can be completely ignored. Could it be that the 5th District and the Holy Spirit Academy are going to trouble a 9-star powerhouse who may step into the heavenly realm at any time for a mere 3-star awakened person? It is a deep understanding of this point. Tan Chaolin trembled, dare not speak out. And at this time, Lu Jie was following Chen Baishui to the awakening hall located in the 2nd District Psychic Association. Chen Baishui was communicating to get a new black awakened profound stone. Lu Jie stood at the door yawning boredly. Sudden. His ears moved. It seemed to hear countless footsteps coming from densely packed upstairs. Take the first one, the breath is extremely strong. With a gloomy face, Chu Qinghai randomly found someone to find out Lu Jie's location. Come straight to the door. And behind him, separated by hundreds of meters, is a large group of fearful and curious people eating melons. Chu Qinghai, the super boss of the 9-star awakened. With an S-level talent, Hyaki Yaxing, it is said that one person can summon an entire army of undead. What kind of collision will happen if he goes directly to the door to find trouble with Lu Jie? Everyone was so curious that they even overwhelmed their fear of Chu Qinghai. They all followed behind him. Far away, Chu Qinghai stopped when he saw Lu Jie from a distance of tens of meters. Suddenly, the moment Chu Qinghai spotted Lu Jie's figure, his eyes turned into a dark and spooky hell moko. Phantoms of ghosts and gods, one after another, appeared on his body surface, one after another, bright and dark. Those ghosts and gods were like shadow kings, their aura was violent and raging, and the oppressive aura made the floor rattle. Chu Qinghai took every step. There is a pit in the ground. The night walk of 100 ghosts really lived up to its name, and the entire building of the Psionic Association fell into a cold dead silence. Such an appalling aura, how could Lu Jie not perceive it? He secretly exclaimed in his heart, as expected of a 9-star awakener, this aura alone is enough to bring pressure to people's hearts that they dare not resist. But his expression remained the same, and he did not show the slightest fear. Instead, he turned around and looked at Chu Qinghai quietly, with no fear in his eyes. The people around did not dare to breathe, for fear of breaking the current calm. "You killed my brother?" Chu Qinghai asked. Lu Ji's expression was calm, and he confessed to killing your brother with an idiot in his heart. "Your brother is dead, why are you looking for me?" Chu Qinghai's eyes twitched when he heard this. He took a long breath and asked again. "But my brother is missing and dead." Lu Ji's expression remained unchanged, and he said lightly, "It's normal for your brother's kind of virtue to die in the strange fog." Wow, Lu Ji's words directly caused an uproar among everyone present. This is so daring. In the face of the 9-star boss, he is still so stubborn. Is this the weird genius who can leapfrog the ranks and kill the 4th rank solo? While everyone was amazed, they had already begun to mourn for Lu Jie in their hearts. As predicted, when Chu Qinghai heard Lu Ji's ridicule, he immediately exploded. An invisible momentum swept violently. Like a force 10 strong wind, it blew violently across the entire building of the Psychic Association. It seems to be in the doomsday, and the surroundings are terribly cold. Lu Ji's muscles tensed up, and he was ready in an instant. He heard that Chu Qinghai's ability is the S-level 100 Ghosts Nightwalk, which is the same level as his sister Lu Qingyi's ability talent. The strength is also called the 9-star realm, so I naturally know that I can't be stubborn. So get ready. If necessary, be tough. Lu Jie still has a little bit of confidence in being immortal in the state of evil spirits. Even if you can't fight, you can't stop the opponent from summoning the evil spirit motorcycle if you want to leave. For a time, the wind howled. Everyone was blown to the ground by this momentum, powerless to resist. Chu Qinghai could suppress all the awakened people in an entire region just by relying on the explosive momentum of the source force. People could even vaguely feel that there seemed to be the mournful and miserable voices of ghosts and gods in the air. Sad and harsh, mournful and wan. How scary. Then, just when everyone thought Lu Jie was finished, when Chu Qinghai was about to attack Thunderbolt and forcefully kill him, a slender white hand rested on Chu Qinghai's shoulder. Boom. The situation changed, and the world cleared up. The air became calm again. In the astonishment of everyone, they suddenly came back to their senses and found a strange woman standing behind Chu Qinghai. It was she who, with just one hand, stopped the storm in the Psionic Association. President Tan Chaolin wiped the sweat from his forehead in fear. Although he didn't know what was going on, he knew that once Chu Qinghai really made a move in the building, "I'm afraid everyone here will suffer except himself." And the other side, Lu Jie was even more astonished. His expression showed surprise. Vice President, Chen Baishui. And at this time, Chen Baishui slowly retracted her arms, looked at Chu Qinghai with a smile and said, "Why are you so angry and beat life and death at every turn? Would you like to come to my office and talk?" When everyone heard what Chen Baishui said, Monk Zhong'er was even more surprised. Before they could think about it, then Chu Qinghai nodded slowly, agreeing. Subsequently, Chen Baishui is in the front and Chu Qinghai is in the back. The two went upstairs together. Wow, what the hell? I don't understand how this situation develops at all. It's right if you don't understand. Because I can't understand either. What is this and what is it? I thought that the 9-star boss was going to take action and destroy everything here, but a woman calmed down everything with one hand. The most outrageous thing is that this woman even called the Juxing boss away. I can't understand it, Lao Su can't understand it, and Confucius can't understand it either. A group of people were in an uproar, and the voices of the discussions were extremely noisy. The president, Tan Chaolin, looked suspicious and opened his mouth slightly. He was thinking about Chen Baishui's background. But I can't remember it. But Lu Jie, with downcast eyes, seemed to be thinking about something. Chen Baishui, vice president, this woman is really not simple. Today, he once again deepened this judgment in his heart. And the other side, everyone's discussion gradually returned to Lu Jie. They whispered one by one, and glanced in his direction from time to time. I bet, what happened just now was just a small episode. When Chu Qinghai comes out later, Lu Jie is still going to die. Isn't that nonsense? Regardless of whether Lu Jie killed his brother or not, he should at least lose his skin over what Lu Jie just said, mocking Chu Qinghai's brother. 9-star Big Brother's shot. I'm afraid he can crush Lu Jie into ashes in an instant. It's estimated that Lu Jie will be crushed before we realize it. Actually, I'm also quite upset about Chu Qingchuan. Lu Jie was very talented. It's a pity that he just died like this. Hush, you are dying. You still dare to speak for Lu Jie. The discussions of the people around were silent, and they all fell into Lu Jie's ears. On the surface, he is like an old monk who has passed away, silent and motionless, watching his nose, mouth and mouth with concern, as if he is detached from the world and independent of the world. Everyone admired his courage to face the Taishan collapse without changing his face, but they could only regret it in their hearts. Finally, there were footsteps coming downstairs again. Everyone booed and remained silent. Coming, one by one looked at Lu Jie with pity. As if Lu Jie has already entered the end of death. However, when Chu Qinghai came down, everyone found out unexpectedly. His mood has calmed down a lot. There was even cold sweat on his forehead. Chu Qinghai stood beside Chen Baishui, silent. Later, he gave Lu Jie a cold look and left. This change directly shocked everyone's teeth. Their expressions were dull, and they froze in place. For a long time, you will not be able to come to God. Lu Jie recovered from the state of trance. As soon as he opened his eyes locked on Chen Baishui. Chen Baishui showed a sweet smile at him, waved his hand and left. In Lu Jie's heart, he also began to have doubts about her true identity. This woman is even more difficult than I imagined. After the crowd gradually dispersed, this happened. Lu Jie's retesting of supernatural talents was delayed again. President Tan Chaolin is busy dealing with the aftermath of the association. Lu Jie has returned to the previous state of training alone. And Chen Baishui seemed to have disappeared mysteriously. This period of time was never seen again. The other side. Dragon Country, the 3rd District. Inside the Psychic Association. A bright holy light lit up. Invisibly, there seemed to be thunder all over the sky, roaring in the whole world. There was a deep exclamation from a group of people. Hiss. SS level ability. Lu Qingyi has actually raised her supernatural talent to the terrifying SS level. The Nirvana God Kongali of the SS level. I am afraid that it can kill all opponents of her level in an instant, right? It's horrible. The scalp is numb. As expected of a female Rakshasa, she has reached the realm of a 6-star awakener at a young age, and even her supernatural talent has been upgraded to SS. In this way, our Zhao Mengyuan from the 3rd District may be suppressed by Lu Qingyi for the rest of her life. Snapped. There were 2 clapping sounds. The president of the 3rd District Psychic Association narrowed his eyes and walked cheerfully. It's a miracle. Relying on the holy blood, you can actually increase the level of the S-level ability again. Such an achievement, but we are the number 1 of the younger generation of Dragon Country. The president of the 3rd District has a cheerful expression. There is such a talented girl under his hands. If the news spreads, he will also be proud of himself. The surrounding crowd exclaimed from time to time, with expressions of envy and admiration. Apart from Zhao Mengyuan, her expression was distorted, and her heart was already going crazy with jealousy. Why is this woman so lucky? Why is she practicing faster than me? Why can she find the holy blood? Under Zhao Mengyuan's deeply buried head, her eyes were full of jealous resentment. Hidden deep in her heart. Thank you for the compliment from the president. All of this is due to the vigorous cultivation of the association. Lu Qingyi came down from the awakening stage with a smile, with a kindness and easy going like a spring breeze. She doesn't have the airs of an SS rank female genius at all. There was excitement in her eyes too. Not only did I increase my ability talent level, but I also reached the realm of a 6-star awakener. One step closer to the Holy Spirit Academy. Lu Qingyi greeted everyone, and her girlfriends also came over to congratulate. The atmosphere at the scene was enthusiastic. Suddenly, from the entire Psionic Association building, the bell of "dang dang dang" came out. The crisp and melodious ancient bell was rung. In an instant, everyone's complexion changed drastically. This bell only rings for super urgent events. The last time the bell rang, it was the opening of the 5th district. At the same time, all the psychic associations in all 5 regions of the Dragon Kingdom heard the bell. The 2nd District, Psychic Association. Chairman Tan Chaolin urgently held a plenary meeting. All the awakened people in the 2nd District, Wu Yangyang, sat in the auditorium, waiting for Tan Chaolin's announcement. Finally, chief on stage. With a serious face, Tan Chaolin declared solemnly, "Everyone, the 6th District, open." Opened by Wei Qingshan, the Dean of our Longguo Holy Spirit Academy. Our Dragon Kingdom is about to usher in a major turning point and fusion, and more powerful awakened ones will be born. Having said this, Tan Chaolin's expression darkened. Of course, this also means that there will be greater dangers in our other regions. Lu Jie listened silently below, knowing it in his heart. Because every time a new weird area opens, there will be a strange chain reaction. The danger factor of other weird areas will also increase. For example, the 3rd order weirdness appeared in the 1st district before, which had never happened before the appearance of the 5th district. Thinking of this, Lu Jie's expression also became serious. He lowered his head and muttered, "I don't know what kind of changes will occur in other areas with the opening of the 6th area." Inside the spacious auditorium, the crowd was stirring, everyone sat together and whispered, and the noisy voice was overwhelming. Everyone's eyes were full of worry and bewilderment about the unknown future. The opening of the 6th district is certainly an opportunity for the top powerhouses. But for ordinary awakened people like them, it may represent a greater disaster. Soon, the news that the 6th district was about to open spread throughout the country. A national sensation. No one knows how terrifying the weirdness in the 6th district will be. But Lu Jie is full of emotion. With Hellfire on his body, he unlocked the soul chain and evil spirit motorcycle one after another. He firmly believed that sooner or later he would enter the Academy of the Holy Spirit. One day, I will grow into an existence like Wei Qingshan, the Dean of the Holy Spirit Institute. Guard the Dragon Kingdom with your own power. All eyes are on us, we will create the way forward in the strange era. Everyone who opens a new weird area is a well-deserved strong. The current Dean, Wei Qingshan, opened the 6th district. How can the future me know that I can't open the 7th district? Lu Jie's eyes are shining, as if he has the ambition of a lion, shining inside. Holy Spirit House. This is the holy land that the awakened people of the whole Dragon Kingdom dream of. And in one of the hidden meeting rooms, 12 people gathered together. These 12 people represent the peak strength of the awakened people of the Dragon Kingdom. This moment, the atmosphere in the conference room was serious. An old man said in a deep voice, "Our Dragon Kingdom has worked so hard, and finally officially opened the 6th district yesterday. After the opening of the 6th district, the danger is unknown. Everyone here has the opportunity to step into a higher level. Unfortunately, the old man sighed softly, with a look of resignation on his face. Unfortunately, as early as half a month ago, the Beacon Country had already opened the 6th district. According to the information, Sean from the Lighthouse Country is already a 2nd-level awakened person. As soon as this statement came out, the expressions of all the high-ranking members of the Holy Spirit Academy present have changed slightly. The 2nd level of heaven. Everyone's expressions became serious. Although countries do not invade each other now, once they fall behind, according to the current development trend, no one can guarantee that the Lighthouse Country will not invade other countries. Now even the little neon next door dares to send people to harass the Dragon Kingdom area and plunder resources. What's more, it's one step ahead and has Sean's Lighthouse Country with strength as high as the 2nd level of the sky. Everyone here is worried. Although they are at the top of the pyramid of awakened people in the entire Dragon Kingdom, they are the strongest and oldest group of existences. But in the face of the undercurrents in various countries, they all feel a little powerless. And the other side, since Lu Jie learned that the 6th district of Longguo was opened. Never slack off for a day. Daily high-intensity training, sharpen your will, and exercise your body and muscles. His power inferno is very strong. But Lu Jie didn't want to leave any shortcoming. Source power, abilities, and physique must all be perfect. At this time, there was a knock on the door suddenly. Lu Jie was surprised that he had offended Chu Qinghai, and no one in the 2nd district wanted to associate with him. Who came back to find themselves? Open the door. What came into view was a plump and graceful figure. Chen Baishui disappeared for so long and came to look for Liu Jie again. Vice President, where have you been for so long? Liu Jie was not so surprised. He welcomed Chen Baishui into the house. However, Chen Baishui did not enter the room, and said in a slightly hasty tone. Clean up and prepare for a new mission. Go to Lingong City, a new weird fog has appeared there. And, Chen Baishui said with extremely serious eyes. In the second district, hundreds of strange fogs have descended at the same time. Maybe it's because of the opening of the 6th district, or maybe it's other reasons. In short, the test is coming. With so much fog, we simply don't have enough manpower. This time the fog in Lingong City, only you and another team will go to deal with it. When Liu Jie heard this, he was startled. Just me and the other team. What are you kidding? Manpower has become so scarce. Liu Jie is confident in his own strength, and of course it will not be a problem to cross the 2nd division. But according to past practice, a city-level strange fog usually requires sending hundreds of awakened people to go together. Right now, only him and another team were sent. If nothing else happened, a total of 6 people went there. Such a dire situation, even Liu Jie couldn't help being surprised. Chen Baishui nodded and said, the situation has indeed deteriorated to this point. But this is a painful period that must be experienced when opening a new region. And this mission, I want to go with you. How? Chen Baishui stared at Liu Jie and said. Liu Jie frowned, looked into Chen Baishui's eyes, and hesitated for a while. Finally nodded. It is good. Subsequently, together with Chen Baishui, he hurriedly packed up some medical equipment, boarded the helicopter waiting at the door, and rushed straight to Lingong. The helicopter hovers over the entrance to the fog. Liu Jie took the lead and jumped down. The members of the other team and Chen Baishui followed closely behind. They parted at the gate of Lingong City. Chen Baishui naturally followed Liu Jie's side. Liu Jie took out the compass, looking at the dense red dots on it, his scalp felt numb. Each red dot represents a strange creature. The strange fog in the whole city has to be solved by Liu Jie and another small team. The situation is too serious. Boom. Lingong Wanping District, World Trade Center. Flames were attached to Liu Jie's half-body, and he stretched out his hand for a blast of flames, smashing the 2 heads to the ground. Clap clap. There was the sound of applause from the side. Chen Baishui is like a little girl at this time, watching Liu Jie's performance with a smile. Whenever he casts Hellfire to kill weird cleanly, Chen Baishui's eyes shine brightly. Just like some kind of appreciation. Picking up the 2 third-order spirit crystals on the ground, Liu Jie silently put them into his pocket. He glanced at Chen Baishui lightly from the corner of his eye. This woman has been observing her own flame from beginning to end. It seems that she is acting without thinking, like a simple girl who has fallen under the power of the gods. But Liu Jie knew that this woman was not as simple as she appeared on the outside. At least, Chen Baishui, who is Yuji, is not an ordinary high school student. Let's go to the next point. Liu Jie turned his head and said calmly. Why don't you go inside and rest for a while? There are quite a few elites in Lingong waiting for the hero's return. Maybe some young white-collar workers with beautiful white skin and fluffy skin will fall in love with you. Chen Baishui walked to his side and joked. Liu Jie ignored her words. It seemed to him that the language was more like teasing. Show off in front of meaningless people, accept gratitude from a group of ordinary people or something. It may make you feel good and your vanity will burst. But in a practical sense, it's useless at all. Don't waste time, hurry to the next location. Liu Jie briefly urged, and rushed forward first. Chen Baishui stood where he was, squinted his pretty eyes, and stared at Liu Jie's back for a while. Then a faint smile appeared on her face, her red lips slightly raised, and she followed. Boom, boom, ah, a huge, dog-like strange creature bared its teeth, warning the 2 uninvited guests in front of it viciously. Liu Jie took a step forward and walked beside Chen Baishui, ready to use Hellfire for a quick battle. This is a 4th-order strange creature, not as easy to deal with as the 3rd order. Never thought about it. Liu Jie hasn't made a move yet. Behind him, whoosh, a beautiful figure rushed out. Chen Baishui clenched the long whip tightly in his hand, and unexpectedly killed it first. Snapped. The dark red long whip made a crisp sound in the air. There were sparks in the air. As if there was a beautiful and dangerous poisonous snake, it flashed past. Ah! The whip lashed heavily at Tier 4's weird body. Through the thick fur, this strange dog-like creature still felt pain that penetrated deep into the bone marrow. With a roar, it crawled and bent its limbs, and then exerted its strength violently. He jumped up and jumped to a height of 10 meters. Condescending, a pair of giant claws grabbed Chen Baishui's body fiercely. Chen Baishui hastily waved the red whip. The red whip hit Tier 4 Weird's belly again, but the weird creature endured the severe pain and stretched out its giant claws, wanting to smash the nasty woman underneath into a pulp. Boom! There was a loud bang. The place where Chen Baishui was located was photographed strangely by a giant dog, leaving a cloud of dust. Smoke and dust filled the air, blocking Lu Jiyi's sight. Wait until the smoke clears. Blood oozed from the corner of Chen Baishui's mouth, and he fell to the ground clutching his chest. On the other side, there stood a strange figure with a ferocious appearance, showing off his might. Lu Jie. Chen Baishui's complexion was clear. She covered her chest with one hand, and looked at Lu Jie with a weak expression. Like a weak woman, waiting for her peerless hero to appear on the stage. When she lowered her head inadvertently, there was an imperceptible slyness in her eyes. Ah, Lu Jie didn't expect that this woman would actually play tricks in order to see him make a move. I really thought I couldn't see her acting skills. So Lu Jie turned around and ran away. Okay, wait, I'm going to rescue the soldiers. Finished. Lu Jie has already disappeared. Chen Baishui was dumbfounded. She sat on the ground in a daze, dumbfounded. Lu Jie actually ran away, leaving her such a delicate and weak woman like a flower like a jade and running away. I'm still waiting for your hero to save the beauty. Ah, behind. The fourth order weirdness let out a low growl again, rubbed its sharp claws, and rushed forward again. Ah! Chen Baishui sighed softly. The body remained in the slumped posture and did not move at all. And the fourth order weirdness behind her that was about to pounce on her was suddenly dismembered. Like broken porcelain, the strange creature's body peeled off piece by piece. It turned into hundreds of pieces of flesh and blood, and fell to the ground. At this time, at a corner of the street, the figure of Lu Jie appeared leisurely. He looked at Chen Baishui with a meaningful smile on his face, and said cheerfully, "Sister Vice President, you don't look like a 3-star awakened person. With this strength, do you still need my help?" Chen Baishui has recovered his calm demeanor at this moment. She sat up from the ground and tidied up her appearance. Did not answer Lu Jiyi's inquiry directly. Let's deal with the weird corpse. Lu Jie raised his eyebrows upon hearing this. Have to. This woman has returned to her previous posture of Yuji. He picked up the fourth order spirit crystal that fell on the ground. Chen Baishui didn't open his mouth to ask him for it. Subsequently, Chen Baishui said lightly, and then they split up. Without giving Lu Jie time to react, he left alone. Lu Jie only felt that this woman was mysterious and had a deep background. I didn't think much about anything else. Follow the guidance on the compass and run to the opposite direction of Chen Baishui. A third order strange body flew out like a kite. There was a scorched black blood hole in the chest. Lu Jie slowly put away the Hellfire in his arms, and nodded slightly to a group of ordinary people trembling behind him. Then he put away the third order spirit crystal that exploded, and continued on his way. After separating from Chen Baishui, he successively saved several waves of unarmed ordinary people. Then continued to sweep, follow the route to the center of the mist all the way forward. Suddenly, on the way he was running, he noticed a drunken old man sleeping beside the road. The clothes on the old man were ragged, like a drunk tramp. Lu Jie stopped. I want to remind the old man to sleep in another place, preferably in hiding. Lingong City is now shrouded in a strange fog. If you sleep on the street, you may die without knowing why. It just didn't wait for Lu Jie to speak. A third order strange head descended from the sky and appeared in front of the two of them. It was a strange creature that could fly. Now, bow, bow, bow. The wind howled. The third order that fell from the sky opened its bloody mouth, and a flexible and blood-red tongue protruded from its mouth, making strange hissing noises continuously. Seeing this, Lu Jie stood calmly in front of the drunk old man, blocking the distance between the strange creature and the old man with his body. Smash. After the flying third-order strange creature appeared, the huge movement finally awakened the old homeless man lying on the ground. Lu Jie originally thought that the old man would be startled when he saw the strange creature after waking up, and then ran away in a panic. Never thought about it. The drunken old man turned over in a daze of drunkenness, and glanced at the horrifying strange creature with his drunken eyes, but he didn't react at all. What's more, the drunk old man also used his dirty, muddy hands to reach into his tattered clothes and scratch the buttons. Then, sleepy-eyed, he touched a wine gourd placed beside him, and, gulu gulu, gulped down the wine. Lu Jie. His eyelids twitched. Be sick. Is this old man dying? Or have you been drinking crazy? The situation is critical. The third-order weirdness doesn't care whether the old man is crazy or not. It fluttered a pair of fleshy wings, and flew towards the old drunk man with teeth and claws. A pair of sharp claws, with a cold breath in the night sky, aimed at the old man's messy and gnarled head, and grabbed it. Seeing that the strange creature dared to ignore his existence and attack ordinary people in front of him, Lu Jie grunted and stared. A blast of hellfire soared into the sky, gushing out following his eyes, covering this strange third-order body in an instant. Roar. Painful wailing sounded. The third order fluttered his fleshy wings strangely, and flew out of the air with ups and downs. Then it fell heavily on the ground, with black smoke all over its body, and the smell of burning in the air. During this period, it kept flapping its wings and rolling on the ground, trying to extinguish the flames on its body. But the hellfire is like a body with tarsal bones, sticking to Weird's body tightly, and it can't be extinguished no matter what. Lying on the ground drinking gourd wine and smacking his lips non-stop, the drunk old man saw this scene, and a gleam of light appeared in his narrowed eyes. The old man's eyes changed slightly, and his expression seemed a little surprised. This little doll has a very strong flame ability. I can't even see the clue, old man. Whispering in his mouth, he took another big gulp of gourd wine. However, the attention was quietly placed on Lu Jie. Lu Jie concentrated his energy on dealing with the strange creatures, not paying attention to the changes in the old man's expression. This third-order weirdness was seriously injured with one blow. He didn't sloppy, his arm turned into a flaming giant sword, and he cut it in half with one sword. With a final howl, this rare flying third-order monster was beheaded by Lu Jie in 2 rounds. I thought, kill this third-order weirdo, and the scene will be temporarily safe. Did not expect. Another stronger fourth-order strange creature rushed out of the corner. The speed is extremely fast, and it directly kills the drunk old man. At this time, Lu Jie's position was more than 20 meters away from the old drunk man. Originally, he was out of good intentions to prevent the high temperature of the hellfire from hurting the old man, so he purposely distanced the distance between the two parties. Now, it has become a death distance that cannot be rescued in time. Gulu gulu, ha hiccup. Just when Lu Jie's expression was anxious, and he couldn't bear the tragic death and strange mouth of this drunk homeless man. The drunk old man actually held the gourd bottle unhurriedly, took a sip of wine slowly, and burped loudly. Lu Jie saw it in his eyes and was speechless anxiously. What kind of weirdness is this? Suddenly, mutations happen. Just at the moment when Lu Jie thought the old man was dead and was about to be buried in the belly of the strange creature. An invisible coercion descended from the sky. At a speed that Lu Jie couldn't perceive, it instantly distorted the space around the fourth-order weirdness into a whirlpool. The vortex kept squeezing the strange creatures. This fourth-order weirdness didn't even have time to roar, it was crushed into a cloud of blood mist. The whole process takes less than 1 breath. It is several times faster than Lu Jie's speed of beheading the third-order weirdness. The key is that mysterious and huge coercion. Even separated by tens of meters, Lu Jie felt the slightest palpitation. He stared fixedly at the old man on the ground. The drunk easily crushed a fourth-order weirdo, but he acted like it had nothing to do with him. It seems that the whole world is not as good as that gourd of fine wine in his eyes. Old man, where did you come from, and why did you appear here? Lu Jie stepped forward and asked in a deep voice. The drunk old man turned over lazily without speaking. He lay lazily on the ground, eyeing Lu Jie. Suddenly, the drunk old man said, "Little baby, your abilities are extraordinary and very promising. Old man, I see that you have great potential. How about it? Do you want to wander around Tianya with me, the old man, and roam the world? The drunk man's question was abrupt and nonsensical. Lu Jie was a little puzzled. What do you mean by, I think you have good abilities and great potential, so come wander around Tianya with me? The logic of normal people would make a genius with outstanding talent go homeless. Lu Jie felt that the old man was crazy and his brain was not working well. But Lu Jie narrowed his eyes slightly as he looked at him, and it was clear that this person was definitely not simple. The one-hand space crush just now. Scary. That moment. Lu Jie didn't react at all, and the old man easily killed the fourth-order weirdness in seconds. Such a powerful and mysterious awakened person claims to have taken a fancy to his talent at this moment, and wants to take him to wander around Tianya instead of fighting the world with his sword, which is really weird and funny. Lu Jie's mind was full of thoughts, only feeling that the world is so big and full of wonders. He shook his head politely, rejecting the old man's proposal. Thank you for your kindness. But now the world is recovering strangely, and human beings all over the world are in dire straits. My goal is not to just pass by and wander around Tianya, but to become the top powerhouse in the world and step into the Academy of the Holy Spirit. Lu Jie's words are correct and precise, which can be regarded as expressing the ideal in his heart. However, PFF'd, the old man lying on the ground burst out laughing. This laugh is very strange. There is sarcasm, there is disdain, and arrogance. The old man got up from the ground, held the wine gourd in his hand, took a sip, and said lightly, Holy Spirit Academy, it's already rotten. When Lu Jie heard it, his heart moved. Could it be that this mysterious sloppy old man knows some secrets that no one knows? Lu Jie cheered up and pricked up his ears, ready to continue listening to the shocking secret that was about to be revealed. The old man suddenly stopped talking. Quote. Lu Jie was speechless, vomiting blood depressed in his heart. Be sick. The old man made a start, and commented on the Holy Spirit Academy in such a flat and pretended tone. Lu Jie thought he had some unknown secrets. Just when Lu Jie shook his head, he didn't intend to continue talking to this inexplicable drunk old man. His voice came again from behind. Hee, little baby, the Holy Spirit Academy is not as beautiful as you imagined. You will never be able to resist order, unless you are against the entire Holy Spirit Academy. Rebuild a new order. Lu Jie froze, his pupils shrank, and his heart trembled. He immediately turned his head, and saw a look of regret and mockery flashed across the face of the old man who looked sloppy and behaved crazy and strangely. Match the tone of what the old man said just now. Just like, what has he been through? Lu Jie was curious, what is the origin of this old man? Talking so arrogantly, such a little thought in my heart. Lu Jie was distracted and found that the old man had disappeared. Like the night wind blowing. Come for a short time, and go for a short time. Nothing was left except for the terrifying blood mist on the ground. What an incomprehensible old man. Lu Jie shook his head, unable to guess the origin of this person. But this incident also gave him a long-term mind. The Holy Spirit Academy is a holy place in the minds of all awakened people in the Dragon Kingdom. Previously, Lu Jie had always aimed to enter the Holy Spirit Academy with his sister Lu Qingyi. Work hard for it, fight for it. But I never thought about the origin of the Holy Spirit Academy, and what charm it has that can attract awakened people from all over the world. Since it's a holy place, why would this drunk man say that? The more I think about it, the more confused I become. Lu Jie simply stopped thinking about it. Forced myself to forget about this, took out the compass, and continued to look for the strangeness after finding the right direction. The emergence of the 6th district greatly increases the chance of weird creatures appearing. Since Lu Jie met the mysterious old man, he has encountered several strange 4th-order heads. This probability has almost increased several times. Based on past experience, in the fog of weirdness in the 2nd area, except for the center where 100% of them will encounter a 4th-level weirdness, more than 90% of the other areas will only appear 3rd-level weirdness. But along the way, Lu Jie personally beheaded no fewer than 5 Tier 4 weirdos. The 5 heads of Tier 4 are weird, except for 5 Tier 4 spirit crystals bursting out. There are no other special items. This made Lu Jie quite regretful. Playing with the heavy spirit crystal in his hand, Lu Jie glanced at the indication on the compass. The red dots on it are much less. Compared with when he first entered Lingong City, the number was less than 1/3. The weird thing is, the red dots marked on the compass seem to have a faint tendency to concentrate towards the center. How is this going? Lu Jie looked suspicious in his heart. In the center of the fog, isn't there a most powerful strange creature that dominates everything? Why does the compass show that other strange creatures are also gathering towards the center of the fog? The arrival of the fog near the port this time reveals danger and weirdness everywhere. Lu Jie thought for a while, intending not to follow the practice of previous actions, and clean up one by one along the periphery. Instead, in one go, it went straight into the central fog. Find out what's going on in the center of the fog. Lu Jie, who has made up his mind, no longer cares about the weird encounters along the way. He walked quickly and arrived at Liangqing district of Lingong City at an astonishing speed. This place is also the center of this weird fog. As soon as Lu Jie stepped into it, the scene in front of him was beyond his expectation. The scenery in front of me is extremely weird. Large expanses of purple fog filled here. Wandering aimlessly like a ghost. Lu Jie's first reaction was to hold his breath, not to let himself inhale the purple mist. When things go wrong, there must be demons, and it is always right to be careful. Lu Jie cautiously continued to move forward. Finally, at the front of the purple mist, he saw other awakened ones. The appearance of a colleague made Lu Jie subconsciously relax. Just the next glance, Lu Jie immediately noticed something was wrong. Strangeness. There are only 7 people in our dispatch this time, and there are at least a dozen awakened ones in front. Where did they come from? Lu Jie cautiously observed the strange awakened ones ahead. A total of 13 people behaved very strangely. They are like walking dead, their body movements are stiff and twisted. Some had red eyes and exuded a violent aura. Some had ferocious faces, and their whole people fell into a state of crazy bloodthirsty. Some people showed fear and scratched the skin of their faces with their nails, exuding bloody scratches. Cannibalism, insane. Lu Jie just stared at it for a few seconds. All of a sudden, there was darkness in front of his eyes, and then a strange whisper came from his ear. Like the murmur of a demon under the 9 nether yellow springs, the creepy ghost claws greasily dug into his chest, pinching the beating heart. Then, squeeze it hard. Lu Jie, greed, delusion and caution, joy, anger, sorrow and fear, a series of dark sides hidden in Lu Jie's heart were awakened by whispers in his ears. Gradually, Lu Jie's eyes also fell into ignorant madness. Only one step away, he was about to turn into a walking dead exactly like the 13 people in front of him. Boom, crucial moment. Lu Jie seized the last sliver of consciousness, and launched the Hellfire with all his strength. The raging flames instantly enveloped his whole body. Moment, all negative effects are gone. The weird and frightening purple mist seemed to have encountered a natural enemy, and it didn't dare to approach the Hellfire on Lu Jie's body. The murmuring whisper was gone. That demagogic power was cut off by the Hellfire. Lu Jie only felt that his mood was cleared up. The brain is more transparent than ever. Ha, ha, he gasped heavily. There was seriousness in his eyes. Almost, I got my way. The other side. A pair of straight and slender legs stepped slowly into the purple mist on black mid-top high-heeled shoes. Chen Baishui was wearing a pure white woolen sweater, and on her smooth and delicate neck was a pearl necklace exuding jewels. She held a dark red leather whip in her hand, like a queen pacing. Now, Chen Baishui's eyes showed solemnity and shock. It turned out to be invisible and weird. This is only the 2nd district, and there will be invisible and strange things. Could it be that the emergence of the 6th district caused this extremely low probability situation to happen? Chen Baishui frowned, looking around at everything around her. Intangible weirdness is much more difficult than tangible weirdness. Even if it can only be temporarily invisible, it is enough to cause headaches for the entire 2nd district. Not to mention the weirdness of being completely invisible. And at this time, Lu Jie has Hellfire attached to his whole body, driving away Zhu and Whispering Empress. Those 13 awakened who were behaving strangely and killing each other suddenly turned around and rushed towards Lu Jie together. They are powerful, regardless of whether their minds are controlled or not. With so many awakened, the pressure is enough to make an ordinary awakened scalp tingle. Lu Jie watched them calmly. Immediately there was a move in my heart. The hellfire wrapped around him was like a giant dragon roaring out of the sea of flames, waving a huge and vigorous figure soaring into the sky, and flew towards the 13 people surgingly. The moment the hellfire erupted, the sea of flames was overwhelming. The fire dragon is like a gust of wind and lightning, swift as thunder. In an instant, all of them were trapped in place, unable to move. With Lu Ji's current proficiency with Hellfire, he can just trap enemies without burning them. Subsequently, Lu Ji summoned a silver-white soul chain, one divided into two, and two divided into three. The breath split into 13 soul chains, penetrating through the awakened ones who were trapped by Hellfire. Pulled out their souls. 13 light blue soul bodies were bound in the air by chains, struggling and moaning silently. In this way, only then did Lu Ji discover. It turned out that the souls and bodies of these 13 people were all entangled by a strange purple thread. Such appalling means not only made Lu Ji full of doubts. Chen Baishui, who just arrived, was really stunned. Chen Baishui just rushed to Lu Ji's side. As soon as he looked into his eyes, he saw 13 awakened people who had fallen into madness attacking him with claws and teeth. Among them, half are 4-star awakeners. He couldn't help Lu Ji at all. How did this kid do it? Surprised, Chen Baishui also noticed the soul chain summoned by Lu Ji. It is these 13 soul chains that travel through the invisible, gathering souls and locking souls, and hooking out the souls of those awakened. Chen Baishui saw this scene clearly. But, she, who claims to be well informed, is also completely surprised at the horror of the soul chain at this moment. It can draw out the soul of a person and bind the soul. I have never heard of such a special method. Chen Baishui frowned and looked at the light blue souls in the sky, and murmured in a low voice. Could it be that Lu Ji has some kind of special weapon? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.